following is an exclusive presentation of Jefferson Pilot Sports, a division of Jefferson Pilot Financial.
This morning at about 10:15 a.m., Steve Spurrier's Gamecocks walk through their loyal fans. And just a few minutes later, the head ball coach's former team arrived with Urban Meyer leading the charge. South Carolina and Florida, it's time to play some football.
Let's play some football!
Let's play some football.
Let's play some football. Yeah, they blow out on the field like TNT. Those pigskin junkies of the SEC. Get up, get on your feet. Let's rock, let's roll. Get her done, get it on. Tee it up, let's go. Got them Tigers, balls, tied hogs, gators, and dogs. Ooh, let's play some football. Urban Meyer and the Gators charge into Columbia to take on Steve Spurrier and the Gamecocks. It's the SEC Game of the Week.
Hey, let's play some football on Jefferson Pilot Sports.
The old ball coach wearing some different colors this year. Steve Spurrier, you could probably say he's ready to get this one underway to face the new ball coach down in Gainesville, Florida, Urban Meyer. It has been the talk of college football, and we are just about set for this matchup between the 12th-ranked Florida Gators at 7-2 and the 6-3 bowl-eligible South Carolina Gamecocks. It should be a fun afternoon of football on our All-Tell SEC Game of the Week. And hello, everybody. I am Dave Neal. So glad you could join us. And really, you have to go back to November 23rd of last year, and that's when the discussion about this particular game started. From coast to coast, it has been a focal point in college football. Well, it is here now, and both coaches have kind of downplayed it, but you still have to think Steve Spurrier really wants to win this one. A 1966 Heisman Trophy winner for the Florida Gators. He won 6 official SEC crowns as their head coach, and of course won the 96 national championship for the Florida Gators. But all that aside, there is still a lot to play for here in 2005 for both of these teams. That is an Eastern Division championship. Georgia can win it outright. All they need to do, regardless of what anybody else does, is beat Auburn today and then Kentucky next week. For Florida, all they have to do is win today and hope that Georgia loses one of their next 2. South Carolina, they're still in this race, believe it or not. They need a win today and hope Georgia loses to the Tigers and the Wildcats. Joining me, my partner, Dave Rowe. And Dave, I know this. I'm excited about this. I know you're excited about it. But I mean, realistically, this has been played up quite a bit. But it's time to play the game today.
Absolutely, Dave. Emotion's a great thing. It's great for the fans. It's great for the media. And it's great for us. Right. But now it's time to buckle up those chin straps and let's play some football. And when you start talking about football, the first person from Florida you think of is Chris Leak. And he has made some great adjustments. The last 2 weeks, he's been very comfortable with this offense. On the other side of the ball, all the eyes go to Blake Mitchell and Sidney Rice, but I think it's going to come down to a ground game, and if it does, that means that Mike Davis has got to step up big.
Yeah, he had a great game against Arkansas last week. We'll see what he does today. Let's take a look at your Toyota keys to the game.
Well, Dave, we always talk about the offense, but today let's look at the defense. The Gators are getting defensive. Florida's defense puts so much pressure on you. They force the ball, need to keep that up. And on the other side of the ball for South Carolina, they need a knockout, and that's by Coach Simpson. He's their tone setter. He leads them in tackles. He has to play his best game of the day, Dave.
That was then, this is now. South Carolina won the toss, and they will take the football to open up this game. You see the numbers of Steve Spurrier. He says his team has accomplished their goals coming into this. From here on out, it's kind of a bonus, but they have some momentum, winning 4 straight SEC games, and South Carolina kicks it out of bounds on the opening kickoff. Chris Hetman had the honors for Florida. let's check in with Dave Baker, who's down on the sidelines. Buzz?
Hey, Dave, you know the two head coaches are the guys that dictate the offense. The defenses are a little different story. Tyrone Nix played for John Thompson. He coached with Dave Womack on their co-coordinators on the South Carolina side of things, or Thompson and Nix. On the Florida side of things, Greg Madison, Charlie Strong, they go about it two different ways as well. Strong and Madison certainly calmer on the sideline, but I'm telling you, the South Carolina defensive coaches have been going crazy today. It goes to the Florida side, though, to try to stop, at least early on.
We'll see here what South Carolina does. Pretty good field position from the 35. Blake Mitchell to throw and throws it out of bounds, looking for McKinley, who was double covered. Let's take a look at our Chevy starting lineups today. And for South Carolina, we told you about Mike Davis in the open. Those 89 yards against Arkansas last week, a season high. Dacus Turman bothered by a bad ankle, but Sidney Rice is the big playmaker offensively. Up front, this offensive line has not really seen much consistency. They've only started the same line in consecutive games once this year. And there is Blake Mitchell, the sophomore quarterback for South Carolina, completing 62% of his passes on the year. Steve Spurrier told us yesterday the young man just gets better every single week. And down he goes at the 27-yard line. Marcus Thomas, the junior out of Jacksonville, Florida, with his second sack of the season, and that really backs up the Gamecock offense.
Boy, you have to get that pressure in the middle, and that's exactly what Marcus Thomas, number 44, does. Just collapses the pocket, gets that big push. You see how he can't step up in the pocket because there's 44 coming right on him.
Thomas, 6'3", 285 pounds, bothered by a bad back, and has struggled this week in practice, but obviously the first series here hasn't struggled too much. And you see the third down conversions, 9th in the league for the Gamecocks. Out of the I formation. Trying to set up a little screen. Mitchell has nowhere to go with it, but he'll throw it away. And that'll bring up a 4th down for the South Carolina offense. The Chevy defensive lineups for the Gators goes like this. A front four that is led by Jeremy Mincy. 57 tackles. Leads his team in total stops. In the middle, you got to look at Brandon Seiler. How about 6 fumble recoveries? That's tops in the Southeastern Conference. Had a couple last week. In the secondary, of course, they are missing Vernell Brown, a big play man on the cornerback position. That means Reggie Lewis will slide over to his spot. A junior out of Jacksonville, Florida. We'll keep an eye on that as well. Chad Jackson back to return the punt. He calls for everybody to leave it alone because it hits at midfield and it is dropped at the 47-yard line. So outstanding field position coming up for the Gators offensively. A 25-yard punt for Josh Brown, young man who was averaging about 40 yards per kick this year. Chris Leak told us earlier this week, Dave, that last week against Vanderbilt, perhaps he felt as comfortable as he has in this spread option attack of Urban Meyer. Really got into a rhythm, set a career high for completions with 32 in that game. Also had a career high rushing yards. If he's in that same kind of rhythm, watch out.
Oh, yeah, and especially when you give him the ball at midfield. Your defense comes out, holds him 3 and out, and then you just give him right, and they've got the ball, and he's going. Whoa, he looked like he was going deep, Dave.
He wanted to go deep. Instead, he'll run to the side. Run out of bounds by Lance Laurie. Got about a yard on the play, but yeah, they wanted to go for the home run ball right out of the gate. Chevy lineups for the Gators. Chad Jackson, the man, all he does is catch football. 63 receptions on the year. Also, keep in mind, Dallas Baker suited up in the warm-ups, and we expect him to play despite the fact that he has a broken rib and a punctured lung. Dave Baker will have more on that in a little bit. Up front, Mike DeGory's the man that just keeps getting it done. 48 consecutive starts for the Gators at that center position. Let's go in motion. Inside handoff. That'll get a couple for Marcus Manson, the freshman from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. That'll bring up a 3rd down and about 6. South Carolina's defense goes like this. Oris Lambert, SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week, had an interception against the Razorbacks last week. Jordan Lindsay has done well at his defensive end position. His twin brother, Dustin Lindsay, has in the last 3 games, 29 total tackles, and he has just been a starter the last 3 weeks. Jonathan Joseph, 3 interceptions, but Coach Simpson, number 10, he's the man that makes it happen.
Boy, and they got to get a push right now. You want to get pressure. You don't want to let Chris Leak sit back there and look downfield.
That's what he does, but it's batted down and intercepted by the Gamecocks at midfield. Down to the 20.
Dave, it was tapped in the middle. I thought it might have been Dustin Lindsay, 40, who got that hand up. Somebody right in the middle got the hand up. The receiver, the person who caught the ball. Let's see if we see 40 here. Yeah, there's 40. Goes up high, gets the tip. Now you see him off and running. What a run by Chris Tucker. The big man, look at him carrying the ball, cutting back, getting around blockers. Good night. You want to make him a fullback.
6'1", 290, the senior out of Decatur, Georgia, with a 49-yard interception return, and the Gamecocks set up shop at the 5-yard line. First and goal.
What a turnaround. Now you got to capitalize on it.
Incomplete, looking for Sidney Rice. Inside the red zone this year for South Carolina, they score about 81% of the time, but they are second in terms of touchdown percentage inside the red zone. And you see that turnover story for this South Carolina team. They have really found a way to help themselves gaining those turnovers. And red zone powered by Honda Generators for the ultimate tailgating experience.
Now, I know you look right away. The first thing you start thinking about is going to Sidney Rice, and that's exactly what Blake Mitchell did. But, hey, you try to run the ball in.
Here's a toss sweep to Mike Davis. Into the end zone. Touchdown, South Carolina. Mike Davis, the true freshman from right here in Columbia, South Carolina, brings the crowd to their feet.
Boy, and number 32, Dacus Turman, gets a great block downfield. And how about Davis? He went up in the air from about the 4 or 5 yard line out. He was not going to be denied. We said he needed a big day. That's the start of a big day.
Point after by Josh Brown is up and good. Florida came in first in the league in turnover margin with a plus 17 in that department. But they had a costly turnover that set the stage for a South Carolina TD.
The Alltel SEC Game of the Week is being brought to you by Alltel, by Chick-fil-A, by Geico, by Bell South, by Crystal, and by Hummer.
The Cockaboos is outside of Williams-Brice Stadium. They are busy outside before the game, but they certainly all come inside. And they're glad they did. Hope they got here for the big interception of Chris Tucker. Probably one of the best runs we've seen all year. And it came from a defensive lineman.
Did you see him setting up the blockers, Dave? As you were calling it downfield, he was slowing down, letting his blockers get out in front of him. What a run.
Gavin Dickey, a former quarterback, moved to wide receiver as the season has progressed, back with Marcus Manson to return the kickoff. That's about 5 yards deep, and Manson will take a knee. So Florida will come out to the 20-yard line. In the last 6 games, South Carolina has been exceptional, turning those turnovers into points, and they are third in the league. Florida is number 1, and of course, when you're plus 17 in the turnover department, it's easy to get up there in terms of points off turnovers. But South Carolina in the last 6 games now has 15 turnovers that they have turned into 76 points.
Dave, if you're Chris Lee, don't panic. Get right back into your offense. You got a strong offense.
Inside handoff goes to Manson. He gets a couple on the play. Swarmed by that South Carolina defense, led by Dustin Lindsay, the sophomore out of Mobile, Alabama. Dustin and his brother Jordan, big Alabama fans growing up, but they weren't offered a scholarship. They were invited to come out and become what they call gray shirts, walk on, try to earn a scholarship down the road. But he and his brother wanted to play together, and they decided that South Carolina was a school they liked, and the Gamecocks offered them both scholarships, and here they are, both starting.
Yeah, and a big, huge play by Dustin, number 40, middle linebacker, start this game.
Here's Lee rolling to the near side. He's got some room. Will throw it on the run. Pass is caught out at the 37-yard line by Chad Jackson. Coverage by Jonathan Joseph, and that is Reception number 64 on the year for Chad.
Boy, and that was just great talent there by Chris Leak. Coming out, rolling to his left, Dave just kind of squared up and delivered that. He had that run option. Last minute, brought it down and found Chad Jackson. That's what he does so well.
First down and 10 for the Gators. Leak throws to the wide side. Nearly picked off, but the catch is made by Jackson, and he picks up the first down. Nearly an interception, but the big playmaker Jackson turns it into a Gator first down.
Well, and that's exactly what you ask receivers to do. This is just out in the flat, should be for no gain. Now, you run through tackles. You don't allow somebody to bring you down, and that somebody was Co Simpson on that coverage, and he's the best tackler on this team. Of course, everybody looks at Co Simpson, Dave. He's the leader of tackles on this team. Leads the SEC in defensive backs.
Handoff goes to Moore. Moore gets through the middle of that line of scrimmage near the Carolina 40-yard line. That'll be about a yard shy of the first down. Co Simpson wrapped him up that time. Co, the sophomore out of Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Boy, nice hole right there for Moore. Look right there. You see the block, and he's wide open. When he gets in his secondary, nobody's close to him. Now, just rumble and start to come up. You see Simpson come up there, number 10. But that's what you have to do. And the good thing for Florida is they've gotten right back into their offensive flow. They didn't panic. They didn't say, oh, no. They just kind of got right back into it, and they're playing well.
5-man front for the Gamecocks. They'll play action. Leak has time, throws to a wide open Billy Latch, go down the sideline, run out of bounds at the 21 of South Carolina. Marvin Sapp made the tackle.
And Dave, if they say that Chris Leak is comfortable, this is when you're comfortable. When you come off your primary receiver, you look across the field. He's looking over here. He's not there. Look how right at the last second, he looks back over and finds Latsko out in the flat. That is when you've got full vision of the field. You've got a lot of confidence in your offensive line.
A gain of 21 moves it to just outside the South Carolina 20. Little throwback. Chad Jackson hit right at the line of scrimmage by Tremaine Tyler. That'll bring up a second down and 10.
Now, what you're trying to do in this situation, if you're South Carolina, is keep them out of the end zone, hold them to a field goal. If you're Florida, you don't want, you're Urban Meyer, you don't want to settle for a field goal. Your offense has come out. You've driven the ball from the 20-yard line. Just keep it going. Don't stop until you get to the goal line.
It's an impressive drive after the interception by Leak. This is the 7th play of this drive. Goes up the middle to Marcus Manson. He takes it down to the 12. They'll spot it at the 13-yard line. Oris Lambert, defensive end, with the tackle. In the red zone, this Florida offense scoring about 75% of the time. But last week, that was a pretty successful day, I would say, inside the 25 touchdowns and 6 possessions. And that red zone look powered by Honda Generators for the ultimate tailgating experience.
Now, if you're Florida, they've been running the ball really well up the middle on that little shotgun draw. I think I'd stay right with it.
Play action, looking to Latsko and batted away at the last moment by Chris Hampton, the senior from Washington, Georgia, with a big-time defensive play. Once again, Dave, South Carolina's defense gives up some yardage, but they stand tall in crunch time.
Boy, look at number 23. That's Hampton. He comes diving in there. Look at him. See him getting the air of the ball. He plays the ball. Didn't play the man. You got a right to get up and shake your head. No, they're not going to. Covered a lot of ground, Dave.
Chris Hetland lines up for the 30-yard attempt, and it sneaks just in the right upright. So Hetland now 9 out of 10 on the year. The Gators are on the board. It's a 7-3 game in Columbia. Back to Williams-Brice after a word from your local stations. Back at Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia. Steve Spurrier's club gives up the field goal, but they lead at 7-3. Chris Leak, after throwing just his 5th interception of the season, responds on that drive, going 4 out of 5 for 48 yards. They stall just shy of the 10-yard line, just inside the 10-yard line, and Chris Heflin comes up with a 30-yard field goal. Here's the kick. At the 2-yard line, where Jonathan Joseph takes it. Joseph has some running room to the 25, out to the 30, and he is dropped right there. Well, Alltel presents Text to Win SEC Trivia Challenge. Today's question: which SEC East team was the only one to defeat Steve Spurrier's Gators in Gainesville? Georgia, Tennessee, or South Carolina? Use your Alltel wireless phone to text your answer to short code SEC fan. That's 732-326, or visit jpsports.com to submit your answer. You will be entered to win a trip to the SEC championship game. That is the only SEC East team to win at home against Steve Spurrier. Here's Mike Davis. Davis falls forward to the 35. He gets 4.5 on the carry. Davis had 89 yards against Arkansas last week, had 61 yards in the win versus Tennessee a couple of weeks ago. And, you know, Coach Spurrier said to us last week before the Arkansas game, he really challenged Mike Davis. He's got a lot of talent, but he wanted him to be more physical, a tougher runner with the football. And he said he saw some of that last week.
Yeah, exactly. What that means is after you get hit, Dave, you're digging, clawing, squirming, twisting, anything you can to get that extra yard. Coaches grade that. It's called yards after contact.
Our Hummer scoreboard will update you all afternoon what's going on around the country. And Blake Mitchell goes out to a wide receiver. A flag is down. Mike Davis ends up with the football. He gets it close to the 40-yard line. But it looked like a similar play when Savell Newton was on the field for South Carolina. Savell with a torn Achilles. Mr. Versatility for Gamecocks, out for the rest of the year. But a flag came down as Blake Mitchell lined up at the top of your screen as a wide receiver. Rocky Good, our referee today. We've got 2 good referees on hand today. Our alternate official is Steve Shaw. So between Rocky Good and Steve Shaw, I'd say we've got it covered.
Against the offense. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. The penalty's 5 yards from the previous spot. Still second down.
And there is Mr. Savell Newton. And it's probably one of the biggest offensive powers that this Gamecock team had, perhaps the biggest. And 3 weeks ago against Vanderbilt, Savell Newton suffered that season-ending torn Achilles tendon in that left leg on a touchdown run. As you can see, he was carted off the field. The junior had played wide receiver, quarterback, running back during the game and was named the SEC's Offensive Player of the Week. He ran for 80 yards, passed for 46 more, had 8 yards as a receiver. Tough loss, but somehow this Gamecock team has found a way to keep it rolling. Speaking of rolling, Mike Davis rolls down, losing a yard.
Yeah, Davis tripped as soon as he got the ball, Dave. And a lot of times when you trip like that, you take your eye off the ball. He was fortunate not to have a fumble there. When he took that ball, he just kind of stutter stepped, and you could see he was going down. Boy, for South Carolina, you don't want to come out and do 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And they're facing a tough situation. 3rd and about 11. They need to move those chains.
Last week, Arkansas ran 72 plays. South Carolina only managed 58, and that's really been the theme. Steve Spurrier would love to have 70 plays offensively. Pass caught by Sidney Rice out over the 40, and that should be good enough for a first down. D. Webb on the coverage for the Gators. But Sidney Rice and his 6'4" frame fell forward enough for the first down.
Watch the stretch for this ball. Look at him stretch out there. Catches it high away from his body. And one thing I'll tell you the South Carolina receivers do not do, they do not drop the football. When that ball hits their hands, they know they have to catch it, and Sidney Rice is just outstanding.
12-yard pickup. 47 catches on the year now for Sidney Rice. A couple of tight ends in the game for South Carolina. Mitchell to throw, looking for one of those tight ends. Pavlovich couldn't hold on. That'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
Good play selection by South Carolina, mixing the ball up. They're going to use Mike Davis a lot. Urban Meyer knows that this defense has got to get pressure on Blake Mitchell, but he's got to be aware of that running game. And Mike Davis has come out. Looks like he's, as you said, Dave, I think he's been challenged.
See Urban Meyer, he has talked about this game. He hasn't really run away from the topic of facing Steve Spurrier, and he has been glowing in his remarks and his admiration for the old ball coach as well. Here's Mitchell. Steps up in the pocket. Hit as he throws over the middle. McKinley couldn't hold on. It's incomplete. It would have been close to the first down. Instead, it'll bring up 3rd down and 10. Well, Dave Baker down on the sidelines. We look at a shot of Vernell Brown, and that hurts the Gators secondary, doesn't it?
Yeah, he broke that leg last week. Dave talked to him before the game. You know, he's such a great young man. We had a chance to visit he and his family this summer. He's probably out 5 to 6 weeks. He could make it back for a bowl game. He's not disappointed at all. He's here today simply because of his leadership and what he means emotionally to this team, and especially to this Florida defense.
The Gators use 6 defensive backs. Flag is down. Pass is incomplete. Looking for Sidney Rice. Flag down at the line of scrimmage on the far side of the field. Steve Spurrier lost his visor and his headset as I see him walk out and pick it up, put it back on.
Yeah, they went to 4 wide receivers and
Illegal formation against the offense. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. If the penalties decline, it will be 4th down.
Our Chick-fil-A nugget of today's game. You take a look at the most wins by first-year head coaches at South Carolina. Steve Spurrier has a chance to tie for that with a win here today or next week against Clemson. And 6-3 at this point is still amazing.
Oh, that's incredible.
Little rugby kick. Josh Brown gets it away, and it's a good kick. Pressure came from the Gators, and it rolls inside the 10 and stops right there on the 10-yard line. An excellent kick by Josh Brown, but it was nearly blocked. So the Gators are backed up after the 49-yard kick. It's a 7-3 ball game on a glorious day for some SEC football in Columbia, South Carolina. Stay with us on JP Sports.
Go to Yahoo Sports to see over 50 JP Sports SEC football and basketball games. And for only $4.95 per month, you can hear thousands of audio broadcasts. Follow your team all season long at Yahoo Sports.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Nissan and your local Nissan dealer. 1st down and 10, Florida from their own 10-yard line. Deshaun Wynn, bad shoulder in at tailback for Florida. Didn't know how much he would play, if any, today. Pass batted at the line of scrimmage again, the 2nd time that's happened today. Let's check in with Dave Baker. Buzz, what do you got?
Hey, Dave, I think you pointed it out brilliantly here in the first part of this football game. Chris Leak is a very exacting kind of quarterback, and he's thrown some passes in this first part of the game where he's tried to be so fine that I don't think he's got the velocity on the ball that he needs. You mentioned the one that was almost picked. It was a completion on 3rd down right before the field goal. That ball was almost picked. He's had one picked off today. I'm telling you, he's got to get some hemp on that ball or it could be trouble for the Gators.
Well, he's 4 out of 7 right now, Buzz, with that interception that resulted in a South Carolina touchdown. Here's a little option. It goes to Marcus Manson, who has some running room. Manson run out of bounds. That'll be a 1st down. Jordan Lindsay finally pushed him out of bounds. Excuse me, Deshaun Wynn on the carry.
Now, what happens on this play is that Chris Leak is going to draw the backer right there. You see how he draws the backer? Now he tosses the ball out. When you draw that backer, now the backer just runs after it. Good block downfield, 2 good blocks downfield by the receivers, and it just freed up Manson. Excellent choice.
Deshaun Wynn, before the shoulder injury, had 109 yards against Georgia, career high for him. Goes inside to Deshaun Wynn this time. He gets maybe 5 on the carry. Lance Laurie and Jordan Lindsay converge for the tackle. The 1st and 10 line presented by Nexium, the purple pill. Talk about tough tickets.
Yeah. You better believe it.
Jamie Speronis, who's the administrative assistant to Steve Spurrier, he and Coach Spurrier are both still on the Florida Gators season ticket list. And he said this summer both of them got letters from the Gators ticket office saying that due to high demand, there wouldn't be any tickets available for them to purchase for this game. Which was so Here's Leak. Fires, puts some heat on that pass, but it's incomplete. Looking for Tate Casey, the tight end. Pressure came from Lance Laurie, forced him out of that pocket.
Boy, and if you're Coach Simpson, number 10, you've got to read so much. You've got to read the run now. You've got to get across, and look at the strides he has. He's got the tight end on that play, on Casey on that play, and he just gets that hand. He is explosive, Dave. He's got great coverage speed. In other words, when that ball is thrown, he makes up ground.
Third downs today, Florida 0 for 2. On the year, this offense right in the middle of the pack, 6th in the Southeastern Conference at about 38%. Here's Leak. He's got some running room. A lot of green grass in front of him. A first down at midfield.
When you have a quarterback that's able to run like that, it puts so much pressure on your defensive line. You're trying to get a push up there. Everybody's trying to get up, and watch. Leak looks downfield. Pocket kind of collapses a little bit. Now he sees it. He knows what the down and distance is. No idea to pass that football. Just get as many yards as you can and get out of bounds. Heads up play.
A gain of 16 yards for Urban Meyer's spread offensive attack, and a little spread option. He's going to stick with it despite not having the kind of talent that he really wants to make that operate. And part of the problem is they don't have a lot of depth at wide receiver. They need about 12 good, healthy bodies there, and they just don't have it. Leak going deep, has a man off the fingertips at the 10-yard line of Chad Jackson.
Wow, you talk about the difference between a touchdown pass and an incompletion. This is unbelievable. When Chad Jackson reaches out there, the one thing you don't want to do is reach out too early. Receiver idle, watch number 8. He's going to come on long. He's on that post pattern. Now look at his separation. Now, look where that ball is. I mean, that goes right off his fingertips.
And talk about a guy who has sure hands. He has 64 catches so far this year. Tyrone Nix, the defensive coordinator, said his team can't afford to give up big plays. That would have been one had it worked. Dallas Baker in the game at the top of the screen. And it looks as though Florida will call a timeout on 2nd down and 10. Urban Meyer now not very happy. With that timeout, we'll return after these messages from the University of Florida and the University of South Carolina.
When you don't have a lot of weapons, you certainly like to see one back you weren't expecting. That's number 81, Dallas Baker for the Florida Gators. Dave Neal, cracked rib last week, punctured lung, but he was out on the field, and Urban Meyer was visibly excited. He says this kid is the toughest kid on the team, and that's why he's out there on the field right now, despite that injury just a week ago.
Handoff goes to Manson, cuts it back inside, dropped at the 45 of South Carolina by Ricardo Hurley, the senior out of Greenwood, South Carolina. USC's defense has struggled stopping the run this year, Dave. They are ranked 11th in the league, giving up about 173 yards a game. That's 87th in the country. They're going to have to button down the middle of that line of scrimmage today.
Absolutely. That's exactly where the strength of Florida's running game is, Dave.
Look at our Hummer scoreboard. How about up the road, Clemson on top of Florida State. Big day for the state of South Carolina and the state of Florida. 3rd down. We'll call it 5.
Now they're going to bring some heat. Yep.
Manson. Coach Simpson came from a safety position and stops Manson in his tracks. That'll bring up a 4th down and 5.
Boy, what a move. Coach Simpson was on a blitz. He came through the line unblocked, and he just all of a sudden just came. You're going to see him right here. He's right next to the umpires, right in there. And he's going to go through the line, and watch the adjustment down the line. You see how he goes right down the line? He's blitzing on a quarterback, and then all of a sudden, watch this. Shoot through, unblocked, can't reach him, and he just reacts right over to the ball carrier and picks up Manson. Good adjustment.
Simpson leads this team with 81 stops. Eric Wilber's punt sails out of bounds. That is not a very good punt, and They will mark it at the 23-yard line. A 22-yard kick. So we've seen a 25-yard punt and a 22-yard punt today so far with 2:51 to go in the first quarter. Taking a look at Urban Meyer and how he compares to Steve Spurrier when he took over this Gator team in 1990. Coach Spurrier went 9-2. Of course, Urban Meyer has a chance to do that. Biggest difference comes about a touchdown more per game. And you have about 450 yards of offense for Steve Spurrier's first year. Urban Meyer's total offense about 376. Handoff goes to Mike Davis. Kyle Jackson with the stop.
And Dave, that first down is so important for Steve Spurrier's offense. You don't want to come up 2nd and 10. So you run the football, they pick up about 4 or 5 yards. Nice carry. Now you get that 2nd and short situation. It gives you that run pass option. You can mix it up if you're Blake Mitchell.
For the 6-yard gain. For Mincy. Jumped across the line of scrimmage. Blake Mitchell checks with his head coach. Steve Spurrier signals in the actual play now at the last moment. And it's a good one. It'll pick up a first down. The handoff goes to Davis. The old check with me with Coach Spurrier, and it worked well.
Yes, what he saw was a safety blitz, and the safety ran right on by Davis. See the safety come right up in there. He runs right on by, and Davis just burns right up through the middle. Picks up that first down. Back-to-back runs.
Let's check in again with Dave Baker. Buzz.
Dave, Steve Spurrier actually tried to change that play again, but couldn't get Blake Mitchell's attention.
He's glad he didn't, Buzz.
Four-man front for Florida. Once again, Blake Mitchell checks off the line of scrimmage after he gets a signal from Steve Spurrier. Mitchell throws it. Sidney Rice slipped at midfield. It'll fall incomplete. Blake Mitchell limping around a little bit.
You know, I was down on the field. You see the black around his ankles, Dave? He doesn't get his ankles taped. He wears these ankle braces that they pull up tight. They have Velcro, and you pull them up tight.
You see Mitchell 1 out of 8. Not great stats last week either against Arkansas. 12 out of 25 for 142 yards, but he did have the huge touchdown to end the third quarter to Kenny McKinley, which was the difference in that ball game. Play clock down to 3. Mitchell has some running room on a bad ankle and all to the 40-yard line. He picks up 5, maybe 6 on the play. And that'll bring up a third down.
Dave, that time I saw Jeremy Mincy just pour off the ball. Good block there, good pick up there by Mike Davis, the back on the play. He just guessed the snap count and guessed it right.
You see Antonio Hefner there, the backup quarterback. They've moved him a little bit to wide receiver. That Coach Spurrier said he's just a great athlete. We got to get him on the field, but he is the number 2 man if something were to happen to Blake Mitchell. Hefner did start against Auburn earlier this year. Sidney Rice spins, and he fell forward. That'll be good enough for the first down. Jarvis Herring will get credit for the tackle. But Sidney Rice got that on his own.
Boy, he made Reggie Lewis 22 miss. Watch this come in here, just dances around inside, and look at that stretch on the tail end. That's the difference between making a first down and not. Should have been tackled right there. He should have been tackled, and he stretches and makes that first down.
Jarvis Herring got up after making the stop and turned around and said, Reggie Lewis, you got to make that play.
You're right.
First down and 10 now for South Carolina. Coming to the end of the first quarter. Over the middle to Rice. He's hit at the 43-yard line, and that's another Gamecock first down. Kyle Jackson with the stop. So, Dave, that's a little deeper slant than we saw last week against Arkansas. These are about 10-yard slants. We saw about 5-yard slants last week.
Exactly. We saw Arkansas play that defense where they took that away from them. Now they're getting that little deeper slant in Sidney Rice. You throw it in his direction, that man's going to come down with it.
Well, that'll do it for the first quarter of football in this matchup between Steve Spurrier and his alma mater. And through 15 minutes of play, Spurrier's Gamecocks have the better of the Florida Gators. It was an interception return by Chris Tucker that set up the Gamecocks' first touchdown. It's a good one in Columbia. Stay with us. It's our All-Tel SEC Game of the Week from Columbia, South Carolina, and Williams-Brice Stadium. Urban Meyer making his first trip into Columbia, South Carolina as the head coach of the Florida Gators. Trying to get his defense to slow down South Carolina on this drive. 6 plays, 35 yards to this point. Lofting it up for Rice. A flag comes in. D. Webb's on the coverage. See if that'll be holding against the Gators in the secondary.
Well, I was watching that call the whole way, Dave. You see how he comes out and does that hard count? Then he looks over Spurrier. That's Steve Spurrier. Spurrier signals into play. Then all of a sudden they run the play. That is really interesting. They're making Florida commit the defense that they're going to try to play.
Personal foul, number 15, defense. Hit to the head. Penalties 15 yards and a first down.
Well, Dave, I guess trying to hold up Sidney Rice at the line of scrimmage. That little jam. It came at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, you'll see the flag there come in. You're right. I think what he did is I think he jammed him, Dave, and got up into the face mask.
Yeah, at the line of scrimmage. That's a big penalty that moves the ball down to the 27-yard line. They're asking a lot of the quarterback to go one-on-one with Sidney Rice. Blake Mitchell looking for Carlos Thomas, seeing his first action. And Carlos, the true freshman out of College Park, Georgia, suffered a concussion against Tennessee. Did not play last week, but he is back on the field, and that's good news. Look at our McDonald's first quarter stats, and pretty even. The time of possession is something I was going to keep an eye on all afternoon. And I got to think that if you're Steve Spurrier, you got to be happy to have it for 7 minutes in the first quarter. But there's Carlos Thomas, Dave. It's good to have him back on the field. It was a dangerous play. It was a scary situation in Knoxville a couple of weeks ago. Glad he's healthy. Blake Mitchell firing, looking for Rice. Oh my goodness, what a catch! I didn't think Sidney Rice even saw the ball.
He didn't, Dave, until he turned around. You talk about an adjustment. He is on an out pattern. He's getting jammed by the cornerback right of your screen. Webb has got him, and at the last second, look at him turn around. He turns back to the inside, and there's the ball.
A gain of 19.
Yeah, great blocking up front. You see the big man, Jabari Levy. Good block, keeping him out there. He's on Mincy. That's a struggle right there. What a catch.
Dacus Turman driving inside the 5, down to the 2-yard line. That'll be second and goal from the 2 after a 6-yard pickup.
Steve Spurrier said, I like Dacus Turman. He runs hard in there. He's a tough kid. Puts his head down, and how about that, just grinding for yards.
Turman, the senior out of Washington, Georgia. He's been hampered by a sore ankle. But you look at that Florida defense and what they gave up to Vanderbilt last week. The Commodores were a perfect 5 out of 5 in touchdowns inside the red zone. Of course, that's brought to you by the Ultimate Tailgating Experience, Honda Generators.
Now, don't get fancy.
Across the middle, Sidney Rice drops it. Flag comes in. D. Webb can't believe it. D. Webb cannot believe there's a flag on the play.
Well, Florida is so committed to that man-on-man coverage that they're trying to cover Sidney Webb one-on-one. And I'm going to tell you something. He's going to get separation, and he's big.
Pass interference against the defense, number 15. Since the ball is on the 2-yard line, we'll go half the distance to the goal. It is automatic first down.
It's a post pattern. He just slants, and you see how big he is. And Webb's got that hand in there. Evidently, he's got that hand up inside there.
That's a close call. That's all I'm going to say about that. It was close.
Oh, I don't doubt it's close. But that official standing right there, nobody gets a closer view than him.
I'm just going to say it's close.
I hear you, buddy.
First and goal now.
Now, don't get fancy. Just pound it in.
Touchdown, South Carolina. Dacus Turman, his 3rd of the year.
goes his fullback. You'll see him go right through the line. Good pick up there by the fullback and rip it in. All you have to do is get a seam in there, and Turman is going to find it. Good blocking up front. I think that was Stafford, number 39. That was the fullback that was leading on that play.
Josh Brown's point after is up and good. And how about this? South Carolina leads 14-3 with 13:31 to go in the second quarter. In all 9 games that South Carolina has played this season, the team that scores first has gone on to win. It's happened 6 times for the Gamecocks this year. They scored first, went on to pick up the victory. We'll see what will happen here. They lead at 14-3. Ryan Succop to kick it off. And it's taken by Marcus Manson in the end zone. Pretty good drive for South Carolina, helped by a couple of Florida penalties that kept it moving along quite nicely. It was a drive that went 10 plays, 77 yards, and ate up almost 4.5 minutes off the clock. And that successful drive means another $500 to the SEC's education initiative, courtesy of Safe Auto Insurance Company. Call 1-800-SAFE-AUTO, and you too can be a successful driver.
And Dave, you know, I look at that score, 14-3 South Carolina. I want to tell you, this game is not going to be a 14-point game. It's going to take a lot of points because Florida is a very strong team. I look for them to come back and come back strong.
Nearly picked off. Keyston Moore was the intended receiver, and he fell down, and Mike West came flying in and nearly got his hands on it. He might have gotten his hands on it.
I think he did get his hands on it. 44, look at him come in there. Oh, yeah, he got his hands on. Receiver wide open, Dave. I think West, what he did is I think he just made an adjustment on the play when he saw him open.
West, a young man that lost his starting position to Terrell Davis, that linebacker spot. Deshaun Wynn in the game alongside Keyston Moore in the backfield. Let's go in motion. Wynn gets the inside handoff, and Wynn gets a couple on the play, but that'll bring up about a 3rd down and 7, possibly 8. Stanley Doty makes the stop along with Ryan Brown.
Interesting, South Carolina getting a lot of second-team players in there. You know, Mike West is a second-team player, as is Ryan Brown. Getting an opportunity, get some snaps early, give your starters a little bit of rest, keep on switching in and out. Now I think they're going to a 30 personnel where they've got 3 down linemen.
3rd and 7. Here comes plenty of heat. Leak feels it and drops down at the 15-yard line. Ryan Brown with his first sack of the year.
Absolutely. When you've got that many men on the line of scrimmage, you just don't know where they're coming from. Look at the number of red shirts. And Chris Leak just falls down. You see people running up the middle. Ryan Brown was 43. Now look at the number of people. Everybody coming in a gap. They've got people coming everywhere. And look, he just falls down right here. He's got nowhere to turn. Can't even flush out of the pocket.
South Carolina leads the league in sacks with 27 on the year. 16 different players have recorded at least a sack so far. Eric Wilbur to punt it away. Wobbly kick that will hit at the 42. It's a gator bounce, but it doesn't even cross midfield. So South Carolina with excellent field position on this drive. 32-yard punt. Well, coming up next week, we got a couple of games for you, as you'll have a chance to see the Georgia Bulldogs and the Kentucky Wildcats from Athens, Georgia, and Vandy and Tennessee. You'll get one of those 2 games in your area. Of course, Vanderbilt-Tennessee game could decide a bowl for both of those teams. And log on to jpsports.com and click on the Regions Bank Road Trip Planner for the quickest routes and all the information you need traveling around the SEC. Of course, a huge week of SEC football today, and Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Auburn, along with this game, have been the center of the college football universe the past 5-6 days. The I formation. Here's Mike Davis. He's running hard down inside the 40. Earl Everett with the stop.
But Dave, one of the things that South Carolina did was make a couple offensive line changes. They moved Nashawn Goddard, who's normally a tackle, into guard. They moved Meredith up to tackle, and they moved Coleman over. So those offensive changes are really working. They're controlling the middle of the line of scrimmage, and that's why Mike Davis is able to run like he does.
Second down and 3. Out of the I formation, handoff goes to Davis. Makes a man miss, falls forward for the first down. And I think that's the biggest change we just saw on that play from Mike Davis from, say, week 3 to this week, and that is the first guy's not bringing him down.
Yeah. Well, he's turning. You see that twist, and we talked about that challenge that Steve Spurrier gave him. That challenge is, let me tell you something, there's somebody right behind you who wants to run. There's another player, and Steve Spurrier, he has a way of doing that. He never gets down on his players, but he will challenge them. See, there's that hard count. Now he looks over to see the audible, make the adjustment, call it on the line.
Big hole off the left side. Mike Davis breaks a tackle. He's to the 20, to the 15, down to the 12-yard line. Kyle Jackson finally runs him out. A gain of 24.
Boy, and I thought Brandon Seiler, number 40, had him in the hole, and he broke out of that tackle. Watch the adjustment that Mike Davis makes right here. Good block right there. Now, you're coming here. There's the hole, but you go to the outside. You see that, Daylight? Now, get to the outside. You're not going to arm tackle him. And how about Mike Davis's play? Boy, you talk about explosion in the hole. Make a miss. That was Seiler's missed tackle, number 40.
Davis, 8 rushes for 58 yards today. Of course, had the opening touchdown of the game. Davis gets it again. Runs into the heart of that defense. Gets a couple on the play.
Dave, so many times we talk about how the passing game is complemented by the run. The running game actually opens up the pass. When you make them play honest up front, all of a sudden you get that passing game will open up. And Mike Davis, boy, averaging over 6 yards a carry, that's wonderful.
Last 2 games, he's had 32 rushes for 150 yards. That's about 4.5 per carry. But today he has stepped it up another notch. Just a true freshman from right here in Columbia, South Carolina. But a flag has come down. Here's Rocky Good.
Sideline warning against Florida's bench. So first warning.
Boy, it just hasn't gone the Gators' way.
No, it certainly has not. They've sputtered. They drove that long drive and only came up, but they drove a 60-yard or 70-yard drive and came up with just a field goal. South Carolina, very opportunistic. When they get good field position, you've got to get points out of it.
5th play of the drive coming up. The previous 4 have all been on the ground. Mike Davis has had the honors. They'll go to a 4-receiver set. Bad snap. Gets past Blake Mitchell. A flag is down. Somebody on the offensive line and the defensive line popped up about the same time. It looked like Marcus Thomas might have gotten a head start on that Gator defensive front.
And now if you're defense, you point there and say, oh, he did it.
Offsides, defense, contact.
Yeah, Marcus Thomas came
5-yard penalty.
in a little too early.
Yeah, you can't guess that snap count. You can't guess the snap count right there. You see him just jump out there. He just guessed the snap count and the ball. And actually, Blake Mitchell wasn't even ready for the ball. That ball, he was going through his cadence and his call.
Happened last week. They lost 30-some-odd yards on a bad snap that went over Blake Mitchell's head against Arkansas. But that penalty moves it to inside, just inside the 10. So it'll be 2nd down and say about 3.
He's got Sidney Rice way at the top, but he's
Mike Davis inside the 5, stopped at about the 3, the original line of scrimmage. Marcus Thomas with the tackle.
Yeah, when you have success running the ball like that, you just decide, hey, we're just going to put our head down and run. Good push up front. Good reaction by the defense. That's just a good match. Now, 3rd down, 2. Boy, this is tough 2 yards down here. This is where you line up and buckle up, and you better be ready if you're an offensive or defensive lineman.
Florida has been very good in creating those turnovers. They would love one here. They've recovered 13 fumbles, and they also have 13 interceptions this year. Timeout on the field. We'll return after word from your local stations.
Welcome. McGee's Wallpaper's back, founded in 19...
We'll see what Steve Spurrier has in mind on a 3rd down and a short 3. The Gamecocks can pick up a first down at about the 1.5-yard line. Dave, what do you do? Give it to Davis. They've run it the entire time on this drive, which is 5 plays long.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd just tell them, just follow that fullback. See that little seam, give it to him, and I think I'd run it.
That's what they do. Davis stops short of the first down. He'll be 4th and about a yard from about the 2.5. Marcus Thomas with his 5th tackle already today from his defensive tackle position.
Boy, and I know Steve Spurrier wants to go for it in this situation.
And he will go for it.
But I'll tell you this, Charlie Strong's over there saying, yeah, go ahead and go for it.
There's Charlie Strong, the former D coordinator here at South Carolina. South Carolina only 3 out of 11 in 4th down conversions this year.
For Florida, don't jump off sides.
Turman, touchdown! Dacus Turman from 2 yards out. His 2nd touchdown today.
David, how about this offensive line? You talk about blowing them off the line, single back. Big man on big man. I mean, Turman just put his head down. Look at this. Good block down in there. Crush. Turman just read that right there. I think that was Goddard 70 at that guard spot. I mean, he just crushed him down inside.
One after is blocked, and here's a chance for the Gators to take it back. D. Webb on the run. I don't think anybody will catch him. Put the points on the board for the Gators special teams. What a turn of events.
Boy, D. Webb caught that right in midair. When he put the burners on, that was just a dash for the cash to the goal line. You don't see that very often in football, that turnaround play.
Well, it goes from a potential 7-point play to basically just a 4-point turnaround. Marcus Thomas skies to block the point after, and D. Webb at the right place at the right time. They grade these players on loaf plays. When they loaf on a play, they are penalized by the coaches, but no loafing on that point after attempt by the Gators.
Absolutely. Good penetration. You got to count those linemen. They come in low. They get the penetration, and then behind them, those backs come up and jump up in the air. That was a low kick. And how about Webb just taking off with that ball?
D. Webb's had a tough day. They have locked him up with Sidney Rice this afternoon. A couple penalties against D. Webb, and he responded with the blocked point after, taken back for the 2 points. Let's check in with Dave Baker. Buzz?
Dave, you know, something like that's the reason coaches never take anything for granted. I mean, South Carolina's got all this momentum down here. This place is electric. The extra points considered automatic, and then what do? You get the points off of a play you work on and work on when you're tired and you want to get off the football field after practice. And it's going to be interesting now to see what happens, because at the 15-point deal, you're only a 2-possession game, 2-point conversion, and an extra point. And Dave, it's the kind of thing that just may turn it around. It's got the opportunity to anyway.
Ryan Suckup to kick it off. Taken by Manson about 2 yards deep in the end zone. Manson to the 20. Flags come down. Curtis Rice with a special teams tackle for the Gamecocks.
Holding the receiving team, number 13. Penalty is 10 yards from the end of the run. First down.
And speaking of kicks, how about the Bell South kick for $1 million? Are you dreaming of a new plasma TV, Dave?
I'd love to have one.
I bet you are. How about a gaming system or a laptop computer?
Sure.
How about $1 million? Bell South is giving one lucky fan the chance to win it all during halftime of this year's Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Log on to BellSouthSports.com to enter the Bell South Kick for $1 million sweepstakes, and you could win an extreme bundle of home entertainment equipment and a cool $1 million. Here's Deshaun Witt out over the 15 to the 16-yard line. Tremaine Tyler with the tackle. Picks up about 6 on the play.
Well, heads up play there by Wynn. He actually was going to go strong side and cut back against the grain. Saw the pursuit of South Carolina coming across the grain and cut back inside. And he didn't even have an idea that he was going to play, Dave. They just Gators have sustained so many injuries.
Bad shoulder for Deshaun Wynn, held out of contact all week. Urban Meyer told us that it'd be really a Friday night, almost game time decision on Deshaun Wynn, but he looks pretty good to me. Here's Moore. He'll pick up the Gator first down and get out of potential trouble, backed up in their own end at the 13-yard line. Jermaine Tyler with another stop for the Gamecocks.
And Dave, when your offense is just sputtering, they're driving the ball but not picking up points. You just get that defensive turn, and all of a sudden you get a little bit of momentum. Now, for Florida, I can tell you this: they're not going to panic. They're going to stay right with the offense that they planned all week to use. Chris Leak is just a competent quarterback, very concentrated back there. Hey, just let him run it.
Manson alongside Leak in the backfield. A play fake to Manson. Leak rolls near side. Fires, pass caught at the 32-yard line. That'll be a gain of about 6 on the play. That's Jamel Cornelius. Coach Simpson on the coverage.
And I really like Leak when he rolls out, either left or right. He's got great fundamentals. He squares up his shoulders. When he runs the ball, he's going to come to the strong side this time, out to his right. Watch him just square up there and deliver. See, that's a beautiful delivery. You have to take time, find that wide receiver, find the one that's open. Very, very good quarterback.
Second and short. About 2 yards for the Gators. Here's the pitch. Manson takes it across the 35 to the 36. First down, Florida. Simpson with another tackle for the Gamecocks. You look at this Florida offense, Dave. They ran 83 plays last week against Vanderbilt in one of the best games we've seen all season long that went into double overtime. 42 rushes, 41 passes.
And you look at somebody like Chris Leak in that offense, Dave, and he's somebody that's sitting back there. He's a drop-back quarterback. All of a sudden, you're asking him to run option plays, make tosses, make pitches, and do a lot of different things. And it's taken him a little while to adjust to. We talked about how comfortable he is now.
Leak to fire. Pass is caught by Chad Jackson. He spins out of it to the 45 of South Carolina. Lance Laurie brings him down, but that's a big gain and a first down for the Gators.
Boy, they were so lucky this time, South Carolina, because Jonathan Joseph, number 9, misses the tackle. Look at this. He's off to the races. And look at Laurie, number 48. He is hustling to the ball. That's why coaches tell you never quit on a play. Missed tackle, Chad Jackson. He could have been still running.
Chad Jackson came in with 63 catches. He already has 5 today, so 68 on the year, and we're not even to halftime. After the 18-yard pickup, Leak will throw it again. Over the middle. Incomplete. Looking for Dallas Baker. Bad ribs, punctured lung, but Baker laid out for the football, just couldn't hold on.
This is a post pattern, right to your left of your screen that way. And watch him lay out there. Watch Baker just about come. Oh, I don't know how he didn't catch that football. He had one-on-one coverage. You got to come up with that one again. Look downfield, lay out, and look at Baker. That was well delivered, right on his hand.
I just can't believe he's even playing.
Oh, I know. How do you get a punctured lung and play?
Deshaun Wynn avoids a couple of tackles, still on his feet. Nice run from Deshaun Wynn. Picks up 9. He'll be close to the first down, probably about a half a yard shy. Jermaine Tyler tripped him up in that secondary, but South Carolina had a chance to get him for a 2-yard loss.
Well, it's tough to bring down Wynn. He's one of those compact runners. Watch these quick feet. Take that little. Now see how he goes back against the grain. That play is designed to come this way, and he goes back against the grain, and they're going to have a measurement. I thought he made the first down. This is the time of the year when everybody's hurt. Yep, he did make that first down.
See that grass on the field, boy. It looks good on that camera shot. It looks just as good in person. A couple of years ago, the surface here in Williams-Brice Stadium, not very good, just to be kind about it. But they have done a great job with this playing surface the last 2 seasons. The 8th play of this drive coming up. It is amassed 54 yards. It started at the Gator 11-yard line.
We talked about Florida not having any panic, Dave. They're not panicked. Let me tell you something. They're right in their offensive flow. couldn't have picked a better time for this Florida offense than right now.
Three-man front for the Gamecocks. Inside handoff. It's a couple, say 4 yards for Deshaun Wynn. Dustin Lindsay with his second tackle today.
Now you're running the ball well. You're picking up 3, 4, 5 yards every down. You know, you want to mix it up and throw that ball downfield, keep that defense honest. But when you can pick up 4 to 5 yards, if you're Urban Meyer, you turn around and say, hey, just keep on doing what you're doing. Big men up front are controlling the line of scrimmage.
Jackson goes in motion. Play action to Win. Leak. Wide open down the sideline. Touchdown, Florida, Chad Jackson. It goes 31 yards. He beat Chris Hampton to the end zone. What a throw and catch from the Gators. And a great drive that started at the 11.
Boy, and Chris Leak he must have said, his eyes must have gotten wide open when he saw how wide open Chad Jackson was. Chris Leak, he's got to be excited about that. Things finally got a good drive, an 89-yard drive. They didn't panic. They went right back to their offense, and things are starting to crank up for Florida.
Going after is up and good for Chad Jackson, his 8th touchdown of the season. He is first in the SEC in receptions per game, 11th in the NCAA. He's a pretty good player. You know, if you're SEC football is brought to you in part by Toyota. An 89-yard drive. Took up 4.5 minutes. Resulted in a touchdown. Chris Leak, Chad Jackson. 15th touchdown pass of the year for Chris Leak. Against 5 interceptions. Jonathan Phillips to kick it off for the Gators. Looking at the 6 by Noah Whiteside. And he is hit at the 17. Now let's go back, Dave, and take a look at that last touchdown. What happened?
Really interesting pattern. Here is Jackson right here. What he's going to do is he's going to run out that way. They're going to come down inside and clear it out. And Jackson just loses them. Watch this right here. Now, they're equal right there. Now, see, they're equal right there. Jackson's got him. Right there is Jackson. He's got him. Man, Chris Leak's eyes got really big when he saw Jackson come out of there. Good control by that offensive line, giving him time. Well-orchestrated play.
South Carolina now at the 17. That handoff gets nothing. Mike Davis stopped at the line of scrimmage. Jeremy Mincy with his first tackle today. The senior out of Statesboro, Georgia, leads this club with 57 stops. That'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
Well, I was watching Brandon Seiler, number 40, middle linebacker. Look at this. Come up, play across the face, get in there. Boy, you want to talk about good tackle? Get that form tackle. Look, you get the red. No way. You ain't going anywhere on me.
I've noticed those linebackers, Dave, love it when the D linemen get them by the ankles and they can come in and lay the
yeah. Let me tell you, that's called laying the wood. That's Z time, laying the wood.
Out of the shotgun. Mitchell over the middle, looking for McKinley. Pass is caught again with about 5 on the play.
Boy, that was a tough catch by McKinley back against his body. Blake Mitchell just not having a great day as far as finding those wide receivers, but moving the football. Got to keep moving those chains.
McKinley, a young man they think has big play potential here at South Carolina. Actually, Dave, that's the first pass caught by somebody other than Sidney Rice today.
Well, Rice, you get so used to going to Sidney Rice, number 4. You have such confidence, but you're going to have to use Kenny McKinley. He's got speed, and he's a freshman.
3rd down and 5.
Here's Rice right here.
They'll go the other way with it. Flag comes in, looking for McKinley on that slant. All the Gators throw up their arms. At the same time, Reggie Lewis on the coverage.
Oh, yeah, that.
And Urban Meyer.
Number 22, defense. That's a spot foul and an automatic 1st down.
Urban Meyer not happy, to say the least.
No, I don't think he'd be happy on that play. Let's take a look at it. This is the lockup. There, they see the hands right there. You can't do that. You cannot put those hands up in there. Reggie Lewis, and look at Blake Mitchell. He's turned around and said, yes, we need a first down.
You know, it's the old thing. You can hit the guy at the line of scrimmage in that little zone, but once the ball's in the air, you got to get your hands off.
You got to get your hands back off.
And that's a tough play for a corner on a quick slant.
Exactly, and it's man-to-man coverage. We talked to Charlie Strong about that man-to-man coverage. He said, we're not going to change up. We're going to play man-to-man.
Mike Davis gets the carry out over the 25 to the 27-yard line. Well, this fall, watch for the Geico College Football Campus Tour, a season-long traveling exhibit celebrating the 10 greatest quarterbacks of all time. Go to jpsports.com for more information and to find out when Geico will be visiting a college campus near you. You know, there was so much talk and anticipation for this game. You just thought something was going to go wrong, like it was going to rain. But no, it is.
No.
I mean, you couldn't have drawn up a better afternoon for football.
I thought I saw a cloud, but I might have been mistaken.
Blake Mitchell comes out to a wide receiver on the near side. McKinley gets the snap and hands it off to Mike Davis, who was stopped back inside the 25. He might have lost a couple of yards on the play.
That's an interesting call. What they do is they bring Mitchell all the way down here on the outside. There he is, just coming into your screen. And then they just try to run a running play underneath. It's just to keep the defense off guard. Doesn't work. Florida's well coached, well schooled.
Dave, it's a page out of the spread option attack of Urban Meyer. I mean, they do that with Chris Leak quite a bit. Put him out in a wide receiver spot.
Absolutely. And for Steve Spurrier, 3rd down, 7, still 52 seconds. You'd like to get a field goal try.
Timeout taken by Florida with 52 seconds to go at 3rd and long coming up.
You know, I think Urban Myers is saying, if we can stop them right here, we can get a punt, we can get the ball back at midfield. Maybe get it back, maybe they could get an opportunity. Don't take those timeouts into the locker room.
This Florida offense averaging 28 points a game, 3rd in the league. They're 6th in rushing, 6th in passing, 7th overall. And coming off a shootout Saturday night in Gainesville, Florida against the Vanderbilt Commodores.
You know, we talk a lot about Chris Leak in that game, but didn't Jay Cutler play a marvelous game too?
You know, you talked to the coaches the Florida defensive coaches, and to a man, they said that was one of the gutsier, brilliantly played games by a quarterback they have seen in a long, long time. Let's check in with Dave Baker, who's down on the sidelines. Buzz.
Hey, Dave, right over the ball. You take a look at number 44, Marcus Thomas for Florida. They say he not only fills the A gap, but the A and the B gap. Now, this is truth now. They call his stomach Scoop. I mean, he talks to this thing. He rubs his stomach. I mean, I don't know what happens with defensive lineman. Rowe would have to address that. But
I never rub my stomach, Buzz. My stomach's called skinny.
Here's a big play. 3rd down. Quick snap to McKinley over the 30 to the 32-yard line. Well, that's going to depend on the spot. I think he might be a little bit shy of that purple line, and that'll bring up 4th down. And Florida will take their last timeout to stop the clock with 45 seconds left.
When you look at that play, they made about 7-8 yards on that play. It looks like it's going to come up short. We see the purple line there, and it doesn't look like it's past that. But that's a heads-up play because it takes a little bit more time off the clock, and now you can punt it away.
Let's play some football. Well, if you don't know by now, Brooks and Dunn's latest release is called Hillbilly Deluxe, and it's still going strong. So if you don't have it, be sure to stop into your local record store for this #1 album. Their hit single, Play Something Country, hit #1 earlier in the fall. Now listen for their new hit single, Believe. You can also check out the CMA Awards live from New York. Tuesday night, Kix and Ronnie will not only perform, they will also host the show. Buzz, what do you got?
Okay, Dave, here you go. Now, people are saying, okay, why, if you're Florida, why not go ahead and get to the locker room? Well, it's because of what they've done with kicks. They got the momentum back by blocking the extra point kick. And if you remember earlier in the half, Josh Brown had a snap that skipped back to him on the punt that they almost blocked. This is exactly the scenario Urban Meyer wanted to try to take a shot here at the end of the half.
Chad Jackson back at the 30-yard line to return for Florida.
Where you tell him just get it off.
And he does. End over end. That'll take a big hop. Jackson will field it at the 17. He's got nowhere to go. Dave, one of the great things about that rugby-style punt is in college football, linemen don't have to hold up at the line of scrimmage to go cover a punt. In the NFL, they still got to hold at the line for a beat or two. In college football, they don't. So that little sidestep gives his coverage team an extra couple of yards to get down the field. And if you don't catch it, it takes that big hop. And that one resulted in a 52-yard punt.
Yeah, probably about a 40-yard punt and a 12-yard roll. And you're right. It does give your linemen more time to run down there. And they almost always get the roll on that rugby-style punt.
And that's been the rugby-style punt's been a hot topic the last couple of weeks. Is when does that runner, when he rolls to his right, become a runner as opposed to a punter? It's a topic that will be discussed, I'm sure, in the offseason. And Florida takes a knee as the clock ticks down. And South Carolina puts 20 on the board. Florida answers with a dozen of their own. It's a 20-12 game. And 32 first-half points. I don't necessarily know that we thought there would be 32 in the first half. Let's check in with Dave Baker.
Steve, you're getting this first half. You had the long drive against you there, but other than that, I got to feel like you're pretty pleased with what's going on.
Well, we moved it a little bit, and our defense played well except for that drive, but it's a long ball game, as we know, so we can still win or lose. We don't know yet.
All right, good luck, Steve. There's Steve Spurrier. You can tell he's a little agitated about that last drive, but other than that, a great opening half for the Gamecocks. The Gators still in it, though. It's 2012 in Columbia.
SEC football is brought to you by Johnsonville Brats, by Bell South, by Polaris ATVs, by Gatorade, by BC Headache Powder, by McDonald's, and by Toyota.
Let's play some football.
Oh, Brooks and Dunn, they've been #1 on the charts, and they're hitting New York City for the CMAs on Tuesday night. And have we seen the hits this afternoon in Columbia? Oh, yeah, that man's into it. And his Gators are back into it as well. 20-12 as the F-16s. Wow. From McEntire Air National Guard Base. Man, they can kick it up. And you know where else you can kick it up? At the Southern Sports Awards. Now listen to this lineup. John Sally, Tim Brando, and James Carvel. How will Sally ever get a word in edgewise? Charlie Daniels, Clint Back, and Young Jeezy with the music. And I know Dave Neal listens to Young Jeezy all the time. Bobby Bowden, Dean Smith, Richard Petty, Burt Reynolds, the ball coach, Steve Spurrier, Jeff Francoeur, George Rogers, Billy Packer, and Frank Beamer. Wow, the show airs on December 8th on Fox Sports South, Sun Sports, and Comcast Sports. And you can vote for your favorite stuff in the South at southernsportsawards.com until November 23rd. You can vote for your favorite. Yeah, I'd vote for my favorite announcers. As far as I'm concerned, it's Dave Neal and Dave Rowe who are up in the booth. And we've kind of gotten an award today because this has been one great football game, guys.
Yeah, Buzz, I think we've gotten more than I think many of us bargained for. The fact that South Carolina's held the ball for 15 minutes in the first half, they come up with some big plays. The problem I see here, though, is that I think Florida has garnered a little bit of momentum. The 2 points they got for returning the block extra point back really kind of changed the momentum, Dave. This Florida team very much in striking distance, only down 8.
Absolutely, Dave. I think you hit the nail on the head. That was really what turned it around. Then their offense drove 89 yards down for the score, but it was South Carolina who started it off, and it was big Chris Tucker. He got a tip there by Lindsey, and man, the big man, he knew what to do. He rumbled, 48 yards to set up this touchdown by Davis, and Davis just airborne over top. Then Turman came back and he scored, and South Carolina was off to the races. But all of a sudden, Chris Leak found Chris Jackson, and he found Chris Jackson, and what he did is he just would turn that football game around on that 89-yard drive, Dave.
Yeah, it was Chad Jackson with that touchdown.
Chad Jackson.
And you look at the rushing yards, you get 80 yards from South Carolina. That's a pretty good number for a team that was dead last in the Southeastern Conference in rushing yards per game. And the time of possession, pretty even down there at the end, and that is a very key point for Steve Spurrier's club. The question I have now, Dave, for you is how does Steve Spurrier get his team to kind of keep that momentum going that they had at the end of the first quarter, beginning of the second?
Well, they were opportunistic. They turned turnovers into scores, and they need more turnovers because Florida is a very, very strong team. They will drive it down your throat if you allow them to.
Yep, only down 8. Well, let's revisit your Toyota keys to the game and see how things have kind of shaken out to this point.
Well, we talked about the Gators getting defensive. They had that 1 sack and the 2 quarterback hurries, but they are known for turnovers. And needing a knockout from Coach Simpson, he's got 4 tackles. They've played well on defense. That's why they're in this football game and leading.
Well, David, it's been 39 years since South Carolina beat Florida. They have lost 14 straight games. What will happen here? Stay with us to find out.
SEC football is being brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, by GMC, by Pizza Hut, by Aaron Sales and Lease Ownership, by Safe Auto Insurance, by Pontiac, and by Sonic Drive-In.
I said it's been 39 years since South Carolina beat Florida. It was back in 1939 was their last win, so that covers 66 years. Losing 14 straight to the Gators, including a game back in 1966. Steve Spurrier was playing quarterback for the Florida Gators, and we talk about today's quarterbacks, Blake Mitchell and Chris Leak. Some numbers to compare. Not a great start for Blake Mitchell, 5 out of 13. He actually started the day 1 out of 8, so these numbers have gone up down the stretch. Steve Spurrier said he'd love to have his team be able to score 24 points today. He's already at 20.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I don't think the way this game's going, I don't think that's going to be enough this afternoon.
No, he's going to have to score more points, Dave. This is a very powerful Florida team, well coached, and it was evidenced by that 89-yard drive when they really needed it.
First time South Carolina's taken a lead in the locker room since September 24th against Troy. The Gators will take it out to the 20-yard line. And with that, let's check in with Dave Baker. Buzz.
No panic on the Florida sidelines, Dave. Had a chance to talk to Urban Meyer as he came back on the field. Dave Rowe knows how big he is on field position, and he pointed out 2 things. Their first possession, when they got it at midfield, didn't do anything with it. Then they had a couple of punts that didn't travel any more than 25 yards. If they can get back to playing their kind of field position football, he believes with the breaks they've gotten, they're right back in shape.
The Gators will take their opening drive of the second half from the 20-yard line. They've already had an 89-yard drive today. First handoff goes to Marcus Manson, the freshman from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, who had 179 total yards against Vanderbilt last week. Had a career high in rushes with 18. He also had a career high in receptions with 6 in that game. Became the player that Urban Meyer was hoping for. And it was really, I don't want to say fumbling issues early on, because he really didn't fumble the football. It was carrying the football. He was fumble prone, meaning they didn't put the football in the right spot, so the coaches were scared to put him in the game.
Exactly. They want that ball carried where your elbow is below your wrist and the ball is in tight. You never carry it just loose.
He had it tight on that carry. Gets about a yard or 2 on the play. Horace Lambert with the stop. Lambert, the senior from Jacksonville, the linebacker, moved the defensive end to give him a little bit more speed on the edge.
And Dave, now you see the adjustments on defense and on offense. What can they do? They're going to go to a 30 defense. They'll bring in somebody that's a little bit more of a pass rusher in what they think is a pass situation of your South Carolina. Chris Leak has had a lot of success back there, moving around the pocket, finding his wideouts, and his line's giving him a lot of time.
3rd and 4. Jackson in motion to the near side. Leak fires a bullet, passes up in the air, and here comes a flag. Yeah, there was a bump. However inadvertent that it was, but a bump on Kenneth Tooks before the ball got there, and the question becomes, was it catchable?
That ball was sailed way high.
Pass interference, number 30, defense. Penalty, the spot foul, automatic first down.
That's on Terrell Davis.
Yeah, I thought he had inside position on this play. Watch right here. Oh, yeah, that's definitely it. You can't do that. That's almost undercut you. It's almost undercutting him, but that ball sailed high.
Crowd doesn't like it, but that was close enough to be ruled a catchable ball as well. So that'll move it out to the 36-yard line.
Dave, you know, we talked about field position. It's awfully hard for an offense to drive 60, 70, 80 yards. A lot of times they stop themselves. So South Carolina's got to make them drive a long way.
That handoff goes to Keyshawn Moore, a true freshman. Moore, a young man that's coming out of high school in Arlington, Texas, averaged almost 10 yards per rush.
10 yards?
Yeah.
That's the first down every time you give him the ball.
Here at the college level in the SEC, he's carried it 29 times for 156 yards. That's about a 5.5-yard average per carry. Still pretty impressive for a true freshman. Little play action. Leak rolling, firing over the middle, wide open at midfield. Looks like Chad Jackson, that's Jamel Cornelius. Coach Simpson on the coverage. And that'll be a gainer first down.
Now, I told you I like the way. Little play action. Now watch him square out. He's going to find Cornelius. See, Cornelius just turn around in that little soft curl zone. He just finds the open area, just curls around there. He's a good target. They catch the ball cleanly. That's just like a long handoff for Chris Leak. He does that so well.
12-yard pickup. Leak has completed 8 passes today. 6 of those have gone to Chad Jackson. Billy Latsko has one, and Cornelius picked up the other moments ago. Sean Wynn to the 45, falls forward to the 44-yard line.
You know, Dave, there are a lot of people that don't like that shotgun handoff, but actually it gives the back the opportunity. When Wynn gets the ball, he's about 5 yards in the backfield. He has those quick little feet. He just comes up there, he finds that little seam and darts through it. It's one of the only places that you can run from that other than that toss where he runs along the line and sets up the backer. They've had success with it.
Fred Bennett, one of the cornerbacks, came hobbling off the field for South Carolina, number 8. So see if the Gators see it. They'll keep it on the ground. Sean Wynn to the 42-yard line, and that'll be about a yard and a half shy of the first down. Bring up 3rd and short.
You know, it's so awkward looking at that play all the time as we look there at Fred Bennett, who came up limping. But it's so awkward. We look at that play and you keep on saying, well, how does that work? It works because the quarterback reads the fullback, then he reads the defensive end slant down. If he slants down, then the quarterback pulls the ball out, keeps it, and he runs. So it's an option play.
3rd and a short 2 for the Gators. Here comes Jackson in motion. The handoff goes to Deshaun Wynn. He's got the first down and more inside the 35 to the 34. Dustin Lindsey with his 5th tackle. But a first down for Florida.
Boy, and Randy Hand, 74, got a good block on that. He's the tackle. Number 74 is going to come off the ball. Now, at the point of attack, you see right there, he's lined up on him, just drives him. He's about 4 yards off the line of scrimmage. That's what the big man, there he is right there. Good block downfield.
Deshaun Wynn doesn't look very hurt today.
No.
You know, he didn't play much, if any, against Vanderbilt last week because of that bad shoulder, and he looks pretty healthy this afternoon in Columbia. Jackson in motion again. This time Manson gets the handoff down to the 32, maybe. They'll spot it about the 33-yard line.
Now, if you're South Carolina, you've got to make some adjustments. You've got to slant your line a little bit, take Doty and Tucker and slant them on the angle, and then hope for that you can, as you look at John Thompson and, of course, Tyrone Nix, that's the defensive coordinators, you've got to get something going in the middle. You might have to bring a backer on like a rush or something, but you got to get some action.
It was Ron Cooper next to John Thompson. Cooper in charge of the secondary, so kind of a 3-headed monster, actually a 4-headed monster if Dave Womack, former defense coordinator at Arkansas, also been on this coaching staff for South Carolina. They're trying to find a way to stop this Florida attack right now. Keyshawn Moore inside the 20, down to the 19-yard line, and this Florida offense is just pounding it right now in South Carolina.
Yeah, it's a 30 front. They've got 3 down linemen trying to play with 4 backers. They're not getting control up the middle. Bristler, that time, number 79, gets a good block. Look at that block out there, big man. Turn them out, and then you just play that, and Moore just kind of cuts back on it.
Let's check in with Dave Baker. Buzz, what do you got on Keystone?
Dave, no surprise about this. Urban Meyer told us the most improved part of this team the last 2 weeks was the offensive line. He's riding those big uglies hard right now.
I wouldn't do anything different.
That handoff close to the 15-yard line goes Marcus Manson. Dustin Lindsay with another tackle. 7 for Dustin now in this game. There is Tyrone Nix, the co-defensive coordinator, really kind of put in charge of calling the plays the last couple of weeks, and has really just simplified his defense. And just wants his guys to understand the basics before they start doing more. Look at that red zone number today for the Florida offense. 1 field goal and 1 opportunity. That red zone look powered by Honda Generators for the ultimate tailgating experience.
Well, when you let them have 6 yards on first down, you don't do anything different.
There's Manson hit hard at the 12-yard line by Cole Simpson.
Dave, one thing you're not seeing is you're not seeing South Carolina get any penetration on the line. They're all catching right now. See them all just catching. When you get the ball back there, you've got a clear hole. Just looking for that hole. Find that little seam and dart through. 4, 5, 6 yards per play. Don't do anything different. Just keep on banging heads, as Urban Meyer will tell you.
The 12th play of this drive coming up. How about this, Davis? They're going on 7 minutes to open up the second half. Deshaun Wynn is the tailback. Play action to Deshaun. Here's Leak rolling out. Has Latchko. Touchdown, Florida. What a drive. What a fundamentally sound drive for the Florida Gator offense.
And see what that pass, what that run sets up. Everybody starts playing that run, and then he does a run play fake action. Comes back weak side, finds him. He's going to play fake, come back to the outside. See Latchko? That's like about a 2-yard pass. It's like a long handoff. He had the option. If Latchko gets covered, he can run it. Perfect call.
One after is up and good. Billy Latchko had been playing some defense earlier in the year. They moved him back to a tight end. Now they got him playing a little fullback. He's just all over the place, and they're lucky to have him. First touchdown of the season. It's our All-Tel SEC Game of the Week from Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina. Dave Neal, Dave Rowe, Dave Baker. Glad you could join us as Florida has pulled to within 1. Dave, John Thompson talking to his troops down there. What do you say to a team that just gave up an 80-yard, 12-play drive?
Well, you tell them they got to get tougher up front, got to get more penetration. They didn't bring any blitz pressure on it, but they ran that ball down there through. You talked about what a drive.
The 5-yard line goes Carlos Thomas. Still on his feet to the 21, and that's where South Carolina will have it for their first possession of the second half. That was an impressive drive, 12 plays, 80 yards, and 10 of those plays were rushing. I mean, just a really solid drive, capped off by this Chris Leak touchdown pass to Billy Latchko from 11 yards out. And that successful drive means another $500 to the SEC's education initiative, courtesy of Safe Auto Insurance Company. Call 1-800-SAFE-AUTO, and you too can be a successful driver. We'll see how Blake Mitchell drives this offense here in the second half. But that had to be a painful drive for Steve Spurrier. The offensive mind of Spurrier had to sit there and watch that unfold. Here's Mike Davis to the 26-yard line. Davis hit by Tony Joyner. You see what Florida's offense has done since South Carolina scored their last touchdown. They have outgained the Gamecocks, oh my goodness, by 161 yards and outscored them 16-0. And it all started with that 2 points, the blocked extra point returned by D. Webb for 2 points.
Absolutely. We talked about taking that for granted.
It just sucked the air, even though they scored that touchdown. It just really deflated Williams-Brice Stadium. This might bring some air back to the fans. Mike Davis takes it out over the 34. They'll spot it close to the 35. Kyle Jackson tripped him up, but that will be a first down.
Good toss right here. Good speed outside. He got a good block coming down inside by McKinley, number 11, and picks up positive yards. The one thing that you don't want to do as we look at Mike Davis go back into the huddle is don't panic. Don't get 3 and out. Don't try to force the ball in there. Blake Mitchell is an extension of Steve Spurrier, and Spurrier knows right now he cannot force that ball into trouble.
Out of the I formation on 1st and 10 from the 35. Blake Mitchell, 5 for 13 in the first half. Play clock winding down. They just do get the snap off. Throwing it up for Sidney Rice. He makes the catch and breaks a few tackles. Sidney Rice down the far sideline. Rice to the 10. 5. Stop at the 1-yard line. A 64-yard pass and catch for the Gamecocks. Their first and goal.
Speed kills, and that's exactly what Urban Myers is saying. Watch this when Sidney Rice gets it. Demetric Webb, 15's got him, right? He misses him. See somebody else dive for him, and look at Sidney go. Sidney Rice puts on the burners. Great effort there by Florida to try and stop him. But you go to the home run guy right there. That's supposed to be a tackle. You cannot miss that tackle. Not on somebody like Sidney Rice.
Steve Spurrier, what did he tell us yesterday? He's got a play he drew up that is just throw it to Sidney Rice.
Yeah, that was the underthrow, Dave, he talked about.
First and goal. Flag down. Touchdown South Carolina, but there is a flag down. Mike Davis with the touchdown if it holds.
I think the official signaled touchdown who threw the flag, so maybe it's the defense in the zone.
Offside defense.
It is. Touchdown Gamecocks.
Big man on big man. That's what I love. It's just fun. This is nothing fancy. Line them up. Oh, you see right there the head in the neutral zone? That's what they're calling. How about Mike Davis putting that head down, driving in there?
Second touchdown today for Mike Davis. His third of the season. This point after is up and good. How about that? The Gators go on a 7-minute drive to score a touchdown. The Gamecocks answer back in less than 2. Back after this. Well, in the 26th meeting between these two schools, South Carolina has scored the most points ever against a Gator football team. The 27 points today. That's their previous high of 26. 27-19 is our score here in the third quarter. 5:59 to play in the third stanza. Ryan Succop to kick it off. Ball at the 1-yard line by Marcus Manson. Manson's got great speed to the 30-yard line, to the 31-yard line. Well, during the first half, we asked this Alltel Text to Win SEC Trivia Challenge question, and which SEC East team was the only one to defeat Steve Spurrier's Gators in Gainesville? Only one team went to the Swamp and picked up a win, and it was in 2001. And if I'm not mistaken, that might have been his last home game before he departed for the riches of the National Football League. That was, as a matter of fact, I was just told that was his last home game in the Swamp. Tune in next week for your chance to play Text to Win SEC Trivia Challenge. Leak comes back. Hits his first pass of this possession to Jamel Cornelius. That'll be a first down. Jermaine Tyler on the coverage. Cornelius came in with 21 catches on the year.
I just love that little play fake action. I tell you, Chris Leak, he looks really sharp to me. I mean, he just really squares up. I love the way he runs with the ball. He's very effective on the, he looks downfield, looks off his wide receivers. We talked about him being comfortable in this offense. He's comfortable.
Yeah, when we saw him about the first month of the season at home against Mississippi State, as the Gators take a timeout, had a bad shoulder, wasn't throwing it well, didn't look comfortable. And it is a different quarterback than we saw a month ago. Chris Leak and the Gators trying to get back on the board. They're down 8. Back after work from your local stations. Next week right here on Jefferson Pilot Sports, it's an either-or situation. You get Kentucky and Georgia from Athens, or you'll get Vanderbilt and Tennessee from Knoxville. And log on to jpsports.com and click on the Regions Bank Road Trip Planner for the quickest routes and all the information you need traveling around the SEC. That'll be next week, but right now we are locked in at Williams-Brice Stadium in a 27-19 game. Gators looking at 1st and 10 from their own 45. Here's Moore with the handoff, breaks a tackle. Keyshawn Moore still on his feet down to the 45. That'll be close to the first down. It looks like he'll be about a half a yard shy of the first down marker. Jordan Lindsay with the stop for the Gamecocks.
Now, one of the things that South Carolina's done is stop that 30 defense. They've got 7 missed tackles, and they actually add 2 on this. 1 right in there. You can't miss tackles like that. And there's the second one. Well, the other one was a little bit earlier. But they made an adjustment. They did away with that 30 defense where they had 3 down linemen. They brought back the 4 linemen, see if they can control the line of scrimmage.
Bring the sticks out a couple of yards from that sidelines and the measurement, and they are a little bit shy.
A little bit.
You know, there's so much talk this week about this football game coming in. Both coaches kind of played it down, didn't really talk about it a lot. When we asked Urban Meyer, you know, what kind of week has it been, he says, you know, nothing, you know, out of the ordinary, because I come into the office early in the morning, I sit down with my coaches, look at videotape, meet with my players, go to practice, stay around after practice, and I go home, play with my kids, and see my wife, and do it all over again the next day. So it didn't really affect him very much. And, you know, Steve Spurrier downplayed it as well, but you know that it means more to him to face the Gators, and I think Urban Meyer facing the Gamecocks.
Absolutely. Your heart is in your... Yeah, I mean, you had so many years of success that Steve Spurrier with the Gators. The one thing that you don't want to do is go out here and bum out. You know, he's got friends from Florida and all over the place coming here. He said one thing they had to do was wear neutral colors.
Against the offense. Penalties 5 yards, still second down.
You see Steve Bristol popping up a little bit early, but it was still, I go back to that story, the fact that Jimmy Speronis, the director of football operations, it's Coach Spurrier, getting that letter from the ticket office in Gainesville this summer where they held season tickets that says, sorry, we can't accommodate you because of the demand for this ticket here in Columbia for this game.
I wonder if it started off, dear sir. Dear ticket holder.
That handoff goes to Deshaun Wynn, a flag down right in the area of holding.
When I saw Stanley Doty just get up there and just kind of move his hand, kind of like it was on against him, like he was held.
Holding, 74, offense. Penalties 10 yards, previous spot, still second down.
We'll vote for the toughest play of the week and a chance to win a brand new Polaris ATV in the Polaris Tough Play of the Week contest. Visit PolarisToughPlays.com and watch clips of this week's toughest plays. Vote for your favorite and enter to win. Well, the Gators backing up here. Second down and 16 from their own 40. First down marker is at the Gamecock 44. Setting up a little screen for Chad Jackson. He's got nowhere to go. To the 41, and he's dropped by Oris Lambert.
That is a great play by a defensive lineman. Lambert, 51. He's the defensive end. When that ball is thrown, what you do if you're a defensive lineman, you got an angle of pursuit. 51's going to come down the line of scrimmage. You're going to see him hit in there, and then boom, right down. Look at, he's coming from a flash right here. See him break down. Boy, that's one that you get a positive on.
Well, third down and 15. The Gators were looking at a second down and very short. Next thing you know, they're looking at a third and 15.
Now you got to get pressure. You got to come.
Four-man rush. Gets to Chris Leak. He drops the football. It's loose. The Gators have it, but it'll be fourth down. Jordan Lindsay with the sack and the forced fumble.
They came with pressure on the inside, and that allowed Lindsay to get one-on-one. Top of your screen, you're going to see him come all the way around the outside. And look at him reach out, and he just kind of reached out and grabbed Chris Leak's right hand. Heads-up play.
Third sack of the year by Jordan Lindsay, and the 27th sack allowed by the Gators this year. That ranks them 10th in the league in sacks given up.
That's an odd formation. Everybody on one side of the ball.
Kick is away. It's a high kick. Eric Wilbur taken by Jonathan Joseph at the 26-yard line. So 2:31 to go here in the third quarter, and the South Carolina Gamecocks lead it by 8. The announcers for this game are selected and compensated by Jefferson Pilot Sports. This broadcast is a copyright presentation. Any use of this broadcast without the express permission of the Southeastern Conference and Jefferson Pilot Sports is prohibited.
And Dave, the only thing that stopped Florida that last drive was the yellow flag. That was what really helped South Carolina's defense, and sometimes you have to be lucky. Now, can Blake Mitchell find Sidney Rice? Can he drive down the field? Can they sustain a drive? You don't want to go 3 and out.
They've only had the ball for 1:55 in this quarter, but it was good enough for a touchdown. A 9-yard line goes Mike Davis. Davis getting a lot of work today. Rushing the football for the Gamecocks. 18 carries for 82 yards. I mean, he has been a workhorse this afternoon. His career high came last week against the Razorbacks over in Fayetteville, when he rushed for 89 yards in that game. And that gave us a chance to watch another youngster in this league, Darren McFadden of Arkansas, who is putting on quite a show as a true freshman in this league. On 2nd and 8, Mitchell, 5-step drop, has to roll. Has some running room. Mitchell to the 35. Though spotted at the 36, he'll be about a yard shy of the first down. Jeremy Mincy ran him out of bounds.
Well, Steve Spurrier has to like this. He doesn't like his quarterback running, but it was a heads-up play. See him switch that ball to the left hand in case he gets hit, knocks the ball out of bounds, picks up good positive yardage, and he didn't force the ball into any kind of trouble, Dave.
It brings up a 3rd down and 1. Out of the I formation, Davis the tailback.
I think everybody thinks Davis is getting it.
He does. Off the right side. He's got the first down. Earl Everett makes the tackle from his linebacker position for the Gators.
And you know, we talked about that move as we look at Charlie Strong, the defensive coordinator. We talked about that move inside. Good fullback move right there, coming leading through. We talked about Nashawn Goddard moving into guard, Meredith moving up, and that has really paid dividends for South Carolina today. They've gotten a good push up front.
1st and 10 line presented by Nexium, the purple pill.
Now, if you're South Carolina, you don't have to score. You just have to keep the ball away from Florida. If you're Florida, they put pressure on you. They come after you. They make you give up the ball. There's that hard count, an audible again.
Play clock down to 3. And Mitchell hit on the spot. Marcus Thomas got him before Mitchell could even let go. How did he get through there in about a 2.5 seconds? His 2nd sack today for the big fella out of Jacksonville, Florida.
Boy, big Marcus Thomas. He just pours through there. I mean, look at Mitchell. He doesn't even get to stand up right there. And bam, he is right on his back. You talk about taking that inside. Oh, he took the outside gap. That was a great move. He did like a little, we used to call that the bullfighter, where you take that outside swim, move over top. Big man gets in there. He's blocked that extra point, Dave. He's got 2 sacks today and 7 tackles.
Wow. Thomas came in with just 31 tackles on the year. He's got 7 today. Mitchell has some time, but now he's flushed and dropped again at the 30-yard line. This time, Jarvis Moss, the first man on the spot. The sophomore out of Denton, Texas, with a big play for the Gators defensively.
And Blake Mitchell came up limping a little bit.
That'll be the end of the 3rd quarter. South Carolina leads it by 8 points. It has been everything we expected and then some. Stay with us for the final 15 here on JP Sports. 27-19 as we begin the 4th quarter. A great day for football. It's been a great game. We've seen a lot of different things. And it's Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer, the Gators and the Gamecocks. What more do you want? There's a lot on the line besides just some pride between these 2 schools as they're both trying to stay in the SEC Eastern Division race. You know, Georgia is sitting in Athens right now paying close attention to this game. Here's Mike Davis to the 40. On 3rd and 18, he got walloped right at the 40-yard line. D. Webb came flying in there. I didn't know if that was him that made the big-time contact, but we'll see right here.
Watch the head snap back. Little screen underneath. Now watch his head snap back. Right, bam. Oh, man.
Low and high at the same time. Oof. Brandon Seiler in on there with D. Webb to make that stop, so the Gamecocks will have to punt it away.
Florida's put a lot of pressure on these punts.
End over end kick. Chad Jackson lets it bounce. Decides not to pick it up. It'll roll dead at the 16-yard line. Take a look at our Gatorade stats through 3 quarters. And, you know, this is very similar to what happened last week for the Gamecocks in Arkansas when the Razorbacks held the ball for 11 minutes in the 3rd quarter. The Gators did pretty much the same, and they now have about a 6-minute advantage, about a 5-minute advantage in time of possession. And that was an area of concern for Steve Spurrier. Now he's going to have to watch his defense and see if they can slow down this Gator attack.
And the crowd's trying to become a factor in the end zone, screaming and yelling in back of Chris Leak.
Marcus Manson. Manson to the 27-yard line. Terrell Davis, number 30, on the tackle.
And Dave, they are just going to keep that up. That's been that little slant off that the shotgun, and he just hands it to him, and he's on just a dead run. They have opened up holes all day long. Randy Hand, Lance Butler, Rissler, Washington, and of course DeGore in the middle. They have controlled the line of scrimmage. South Carolina cannot afford to let them just march down the field.
Manson now 12 carries, 52 yards on the ground. Leak spins and is dropped at the 23-yard line. Oris Lambert with his 2nd sack of the season, his 1st this afternoon.
Boy, and sometimes they're not pretty, but they certainly are effective. 51 is Lambert. He gets in there. As Leak fakes right there, and he comes to you see Lambert 51 on the top of your screen. He just kind of breezes in there and gets just a hand, just enough to trip him up, force him to go down, and then, of course, he's got 3 sacks. Boy, South Carolina should say have 3 sacks. That's a good day.
Gamecocks came in with 26 sacks defensively. That's tops in the SEC.
Now sorry, Dave, I was just going to say they go back to that 30 defense again.
Leak to throw, passes caught at the 29-yard line by Chad Jackson. For Jackson, that'll be his 8th reception of the game. Jackson is just a pass-catching machine.
He is, you're right. When that ball touches his hands, he owns it. He's one of those just sure-handed receivers.
8 today for 92 yards, and on the season, now he has 71 catches. It is 3rd down and 8.
Now, do you come with pressure? There's that 30 defense, only 3 down linemen.
Leak spins again and dropped at the 21-yard line. Oris Lambert again, his 2nd sack of this series.
What a series for South Carolina. And I think that number 45 on the right gets a hand on Leak and disturbs. See right there, he kind of gets a hand on him. And then Oris Lambert comes across and he makes the sack. Teamwork, working together, 3-man rush, and they got to him.
Here's Eric Wilbur back to punt. Wilbur averaging 31 yards on 3 punts today. Line drive kick, fair catch called for by Kenny McKinley, and the Gamecocks will set up at the 43-yard line. 11:19 to play. Gamecocks holding on by 8 points. (27-19), South Carolina with the lead. Since we've started the second half, the Gators had dominated the time of possession, roughly about 13.5 minutes to about 5. Here's Dacus Turman in the open field down to the 43-yard line, and I was going to say that the Gamecocks need to keep the ball on the ground and have a substantial drive 4 or 5 minutes, because that defense has got to be getting tired.
Yeah, but not when you do this. Look at that hole open up. I mean, we're talking about a hole open up for Turman. He just put the burners on. He didn't even have to make a break on it.
15-yard pickup gives Turman 25 on the day. Of course, he has a couple of touchdowns from short yardage situations. And now South Carolina looks at 1st and 10 from the 42.
I wondered why he came out.
Mike Davis, the tailback. Straight drop from Mitchell. Mitchell throws. Gets out of bounds. Receiver was in the area, so no flag on the play. It's just incomplete. Pressure came from Jeremy Mincy, a young man who was, we talked to during the middle of the week, very confident in his ability. Says he wants to always have about 15 tackles a game, which is a big number for a D lineman. But the Gamecocks have done a nice job on keeping him from making some huge plays today.
Absolutely. He's just quite a force off the ball. And as we look at Dacus Turman get his ankles, he may have sprained his ankle on that. You see the ankle braces that they have there, Dave. What they do is you can tighten those up. It's not like tape. It's actually an ankle brace. Now, what they're doing is they're going to take off the sock and retape his ankle. But back to Mincy. Boy, he is a force. I really like that style of play.
Incomplete, and a flag comes in late. D. Webb on the coverage of Sidney Rice again. Rice got up immediately and said there's got to be a flag, and it took a moment or two, but one finally came.
Well, on the play, we talk about this underthrow where Sidney Rice turns back, but you can see right there, we're not talking about playing the ball. We're talking about playing the man. You can't do that. And Webb has had all his hands full. Just a little early. Look at that. He's just throwing him down. It's almost like he tried to do it nonchalant. Everybody. No, I was going to say, what'd you say?
Sidney Rice does a nice job on shielding the defender with a 6'4" frame. I've noticed that on these routes is he's always got great position, making it difficult with those long arms and big shoulders to get around and knock it away.
Well, it's almost like a basketball skill, you know, where you box the guy out.
And, of course, we all know about his great hand, so that doesn't hurt. 8 penalties for the Gators. They are 11th in the league in penalties this year. They are averaging about 68 yards a game. Not a very good number.
If I was South Carolina, I'd just run it.
Mike Davis off the left side inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. Kyle Jackson makes the tackle. Gamecocks, if nothing else, would love to have a field goal here, make it a 2-possession game. The 1st and 10 line presented by Nexium, the purple pill. Buzz, what are your impressions of Sidney Rice?
Boy, Dave, he's something else. I'm going to be interested to see the last big play that they ran. That was an intentional underthrow that Steve Spurrier told us about. Something they put in a playbook because he can go get it so well. Be interesting to see if they come back with it down here.
On this play, they'll hand it off to Mike Davis to the 20-yard line.
And that may be Mike Davis's best run of the day. Did you see him look back and see the backside cut? He got a good block up on the front by Deshaun Goddard. But when he saw that backside seam, Dave, he just exploded back there. Good vision into the hole. That's what you want your running back to look for.
Mike Davis having back-to-back career games. Actually, it's 3 straight games. He's posted new career highs in rushing. Against Tennessee, he set a new standard for the youngster when he rushed for 61 yards, went for 89 last week. Timeout. Steve Spurrier trying to get the timeout. They do so. Dave Rowe, you said Mike Davis had to step it up. I'd say the young fella has. SEC football is brought to you in part by Chevrolet. On a 3rd down and 3, Dacus Turman back in the game for the Gamecocks. Sidney Rice in motion. Mitchell will throw to Rice. Oh, bad throw. Blake Mitchell knew it. Steve Spurrier knew it, and they knew they had a chance on that play. Inside the red zone today, South Carolina has been pretty good. 4 touchdowns and 4 opportunities. They came in 2nd in the league in touchdown percentage in the red zone at 69%. So that red zone powered by Honda generators for the ultimate tailgating experience. 37-yard field goal coming up for Josh Brown.
We've got about 90,000 people holding their breath on this one.
that sneaks in the left upright from 37 yards. So a 30-19 game, an 11-point South Carolina lead with 9:04 to go in the fourth. 30-19, the field goal makes it an 11-point game here in Columbia, South Carolina. 9:04 to go in the contest. Kicking off, Ryan Succop for the Gamecocks. Gavin Dickey standing at his goal line. Marcus Manson also back deep for the Gators. Manson lets it bounce in the end zone. That'll be a touchback out to the 20-yard line. And Dave, you look at Nathan Pepper, who was inserted into the special teams unit on field goals this afternoon. Scott Morgan normally snaps on field goals, but he ran into some troubles off the field, is suspended. They were going to use Ike Crowfoot, who is holding here. He also snaps on punts, but they like the way Crowfoot handles snaps on field goals and didn't want to break the rhythm. So instead of using Crowfoot on field goals, they brought in Nathan Peppers, and boy, that decision paid off. A low snap, and he handled it extremely well. Deshaun Wynn on that carry.
I'll tell you one thing, we talk about special teams being special. That is special, my friend. When you take that ball and you do what he did, pick it up off the ground, and you're concentrating, not trying to get your hands kicked, because that guy's he's moving forward when he sees that ball snap. That was huge.
Flag down, whistles blow. Play is stopped. Looks like somebody on that offensive line popped up.
Dead ball. Ball start. Number 79 on the offense. 25 yards. Remains second down.
That is the 9th infraction against the Gators this afternoon.
Boy, about the only thing that has stopped this Florida offense is that yellow flag. That figured big in that last series when they held them, and here it comes again.
Listen to this crowd.
Leaks in the end zone. He's got to go up and tell him what the snap count is.
Leak going deep, looking for his tight end, Casey. It's incomplete. Jonathan Joseph on the coverage. And Casey might have had a little bit of an advantage on that play, but it fell incomplete. It'll bring up 3rd and 11.
And you thought that crowd was the last play was loud.
Leak again, passes caught at the 28-yard line. They'll mark it at the 27. That's 3 yards shy of the first down. That was Dallas Baker, covered by Jonathan Joseph, and that'll bring up 4th and 3.
Let them catch it in front of you. That's what defensive backs say. They throw to Dallas Baker. Look at the good coverage coming back by Jonathan Joseph. He comes forward, he plants, he comes forward and doesn't allow that tackle to be broken.
And on 4th and 3, here come the Gators, backed up at their 27-yard line. Leak throws, passes, caught at the 32. A huge call, a huge catch, and a huge throw means first down. Gators keep moving. Chad Jackson. Oh, my goodness, can this guy play some football?
Well, you go to your star, and that's what Chad Jackson is. Look how clean it is. Good coverage. He gets hit right in the back just as he catches it by Mike West. Good concentration. Look the ball in.
What a call from Urban Meyer.
I tell you.
With 7 minutes to go in the game from his own 27. Now they'll hand it off to Marcus Manson. You know, last week South Carolina stopped Arkansas in a similar situation at the 30-yard line, got the football back and scored a touchdown, but Urban Meyer didn't even hesitate. There wasn't even much of a discussion on that Gator sideline to go for it on 4th and 3.
Well, he knows he needs 2 scores, Dave, and the last time South Carolina drove that ball, they kept it for a while. do something to get a spark.
Leak being chased and dragged down at the 25-yard line. Chris Tucker, who already has an interception return for 48 yards, now comes up with a sack.
6'1", 290 pounds, and can the big man rumble? Number 98 comes off that ball. I mean, he gets untouched. Look at him, he's in the backfield. And Chris Leak, oh man. Unbelievable, great penetration. You're going to see him come off the ball right there. Man.
3rd and 15. Pass is caught at the 33-yard line. Chad Jackson again. For Jackson, that's his 10th catch. Jonathan Joseph on the coverage, but that is well shy of the first down. That'll bring up about a 4th and 8.
And Dave, what's really interesting is seeing the defense that Tyrone Nix and John Thompson, what they're doing is they've gone to a too-deep zone where they're saying, you are not going to beat us long.
Here we go again.
Well, you did it on 4th down on your 20-something.
Listen to this crowd. As the clock moves closer to 5 minutes to go. Over the middle. Is it caught? Yes, by Cornelius. First down, Gators.
And you talk about seeing somebody run down your throat. South Carolina brought pressure. Top of your screen to the left. Look at Chris Leak sitting back there. And I mean, that's not an easy catch. That's right down on the ground. Watch the pressure that Chris Leak sees. He's got no time to look down. He throws to an area. Great concentration there by Cornelius.
1st and 10. Leak. Pass is overthrown, looking for Chad Jackson. Jonathan Joseph on the coverage. How about Urban Meyer? A couple of 4th downs on this drive. They convert both. Look at Leak, 16 of 25 for a $186. He's not really going for the big home run as much as he did in years past. Last week, he completed 32 passes. The longest completion was for only 16 yards.
Well, Urban Meyer and his staff came in here and they said, hey, we came to win. They didn't come to look good. With 4.5 minutes left, they need 2 scores.
This drive is closing in on 5 minutes, and they've only made it to midfield. Deshaun Wynn in at tailback. He'll get the handoff. Wynn keeping his feet moving inside the 45 down to the 43-yard line, but the clock continues to churn. 2 timeouts left for Florida. Let's check in with Dave Baker.
Hey, Dave, you know, the interesting thing about this drive is the one thing that Florida's got working against them is they got no Sidney Rice. I was talking to Urban Meyer before the game. This is the first time since the Gators played Louisiana Tech that they've got 4 guys healthy enough to go at wide receiver, and that's with Dallas Baker making a miraculous comeback this week.
Good point, Buzz. On 3rd down and 3. Leak again fires. Cornelius at the 34 down to the 32-yard line. Jonathan Joseph with the coverage. The clock will stop to move the chains, but it's at 3:48.
And you know what? If I'm South Carolina, I'm not that upset. I'm going to let them catch that ball in front of me. I'm going to let them run the football.
Look at our Aaron scoreboard. Ole Miss on top of Arkansas by 10. Are you kidding me?
What is that? Oh, man.
4-3, Kentucky over Vandy, and Memphis on top of Tennessee. A crazy day, folks. A crazy day in this league. Leak looking to the end zone, looking for Dallas Baker. It's incomplete. Coverage by Jonathan Joseph. Joseph been a busy man on this drive. Best news of all, I think, for Florida is it finally stops the clock at 3:24 and everybody can catch their breath.
Yeah, us included. What a marvelous drive by Urban Meyer. I mean, he did. And Steve Spurrier's got to be looking over. That's something that you would think Steve Spurrier would do. 2 4th downs.
Dave, I was just handed probably the numbers of the game to this point. This is the 13th play of the drive that has taken a total of 5 minutes and 40 seconds off the clock. It's a substantial drive, but not at this point of the game.
Yeah, no, exactly right. You don't want it with 3:24 left.
It's so loud in this place, nobody heard the whistles blow. but a delay of game possibly. We'll see. A timeout just before delay of game taken by Florida. Second down and 10. 3:22 to play in the game. Chris Leak out of the shotgun. Pass is caught by Baker. Down to the 20. He's knocked out of bounds. That'll be a Gator first down. Joseph on the coverage. Baker with a broken rib, a punctured lung.
And
the fact that he's even out there is amazing.
And he gets stuck in the back. Watch this when he catches it. Stuck in the back right there by Jonathan Joseph. Again, Baker coming off, just driving him off the ball, trying to get some depth, and he curls back in.
From the 21. Gators need to hurry up and score if they're going to. 3:16 to go, and they only have one timeout left. Play clock, plenty of time. It's at 9. Leak steps up, looking, firing, looking for Baker. Incomplete. He bobbled it out of bounds. He held on, but he never had complete control. Incomplete, second down.
Boy, and South Carolina's playing this defense. They've got too deep on the zone. And Jonathan Joseph over here by himself on Baker. Look at that. He almost catches that ball. The official rules him out of bounds. This is interesting. Watch this, Dave. One hand, he catches that ball. He's got it. Wow.
That's a close call.
You better believe that's a close call. What a concentration.
Chris Leak thought it was a completion. No word from the replay booth.
Doesn't matter now.
Here's Leak spinning again, looking, firing over the middle, looking for his tight end, Casey. Incomplete. Clock down to 3:03 as you look at John Thompson, a co-defensive coordinator. Urban Meyer, what's going through his mind at this point?
Boy, good pressure here. They get good pressure on the outside. Lambert, and Leak spins around away from Lambert, and look at him square up and almost completes that. Good man-to-man coverage right there. And it's interesting, they're playing a zone deep and then trying to cover underneath man-to-man. You see how deep those men are way to the back.
Well, don't even worry about the third down part of this drive, because you know Urban's going for it.
Absolutely.
He is not wasting any energy here trying to get this in the end zone. Leak whistles again. Flag right near the goal line. That could be a delay of game.
Delay game.
10 infractions now against Urban Meyer's team. Boy, he's going to talk about that in the postgame.
Say, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. We saw the clock going down.
Looking for Baker, overthrown. It is 4th down and 15 coming up. Here's your ball game.
Dave, you need 2 scores. Do you kick the field goal here and try to hold for the touchdown, or do you go for the touchdown? That's a tough decision. Well, you got to have 2 scores.
Here it comes right now, the field goal unit. And you've got an excellent field goal kicker in Chris Hetland, who is 9 out of 10 this season. As a matter of fact, he missed his first field goal last week against Vanderbilt, only a 26-yarder. This one's from 43. Gators need it if they want to stay in this game. And it is dead solid perfect. That'll make it an 8-point game with just under 3 minutes to play. Hold on, folks. This will be an exciting finish. (30-22), 4th quarter football from Columbia, South Carolina. Dave Rowe, do you do the onside kicks in an 8-point game? You got 2:51 left, 1 timeout.
I think you have to kick the onside kick, because you can stop them 3 times. You've got that 1 timeout, but I think you have to take a shot at that onside kick. Wow, look at that scoring drive, Dave. 17.
I mean, it looks good on paper, but it just chewed up 6 minutes. Here's the onside kick. Kenny McKinley falls on top of it rather easily. So South Carolina will have it at the 46 of the Gators.
What you do is you put a hands team in. It's all your wide receivers and your backs. You tell them just catch the ball and get to the ground. Snuggle up, cuddle up.
So really no time came off the clock. 2:51.
Now you tell that running back, don't fumble. That's Turman.
Turman hit by Reggie Lewis. Time now for our Suzuki walk-on Way of Life featured player, and we're going to focus in on one of the Gamecocks as Florida uses their final timeout. It's Tim Frisbee. Didn't see any action today, but they call him Pops around here, and what a special weekend. Veterans Day. The community here and really the state of South Carolina just endearing toward their veterans in this part of the country, and Tim Frisbee is one of those veterans. Now he's 40 years old and young, I should say young man. He's a young man playing college football in my eyes, but a member of the military. And across the way is another former member of the military, U.S. Marines, Cam Brewer, making his first trip with the Gators. He's a wide receiver, walked onto this Gator football team. He said he lived out a dream being a part of the Marines, and now he's living out another dream playing for the Florida Gators in special honor. So actually, let's just say both of those guys, Cam Brewer and Tim Pops Frisbee, are both our walk-on Way of Life featured players this week, and it's great to have those guys in the Southeastern Conference. Frisbee actually got some action, has a catch this year. But Dave, back to the game. 2:42.
I'm sitting there with my pencil thinking out, okay, now the play clock, the play, run it down. They've used their last timeout. Florida cannot stop the ball again. First clock again. First thing you do is you don't want to run out of bounds. That stops the clock. If you can run up in there, and they got 3 or 4 yards on that first play, so you run it up there again, see if you can get 3 or 4 more. Just keep that clock running. Tell your guys, get up slow off the pile. Don't hurry to get back.
Well, you look at the stats, and you kind of say to yourself, how have the Gamecocks done it to this point again? Handoff off the right side to the 41 goes Dacus Turman. The Gators have racked up 360 yards of offense. South Carolina 250. But once again, the Gators have only, the Gamecocks have only run 49 plays to 68 for the opponents. It's been that story throughout. But Steve Spurrier says this guy's just play hard, and find a way. They're trying to find a way right now with 2:15, and there's nothing Florida can do to stop this clock.
And what's amazing is I look at Steve Spurrier and Blake Mitchell. He's just an extension of Steve Spurrier. He's got the same mind. He sees what Steve Spurrier sees. He plays, and Steve says he can throw all the throws. He doesn't make mistakes, and that's what Steve Spurrier did so well when he played the game.
Mike Davis on the carry. So that'll bring up a 4th down. Jarvis Moss with the tackle, and they will wait for them to start the play clock as the game clock is at 1:35.
And I wonder if you just run the clock all the way down, maybe call a timeout with 1 second left on that play clock. But then you take your punt team and you say, okay, do not get this thing blocked. Make sure you got a safe snap. A lot of things go through your mind if you're a coach. And for Urban Meyer, wow.
You know, do you do the rugby style kick or do you do a straightaway punt?
I don't think you do. I think what you do is you punt that ball just as soon as you get it. You don't try to run or do anything like that.
And Gators are having some problems trying to figure out who's going to be the deep safety. Here comes Chad Jackson onto the field, and Gamecocks will use that timeout.
The Alltel SEC Game of the Week has been brought to you by Alltel, by Chevrolet, by Sonic Drive-In, by Advance Auto Parts, by Safe Auto.
Here's the punt. Fair catch called for by Chad Jackson at the 24-yard line. 1 minute to play. 60 seconds for the Gators. And here comes a late flag at the 32 on the other side of the field.
How about 12 men on the return? Remember
Oh my gosh.
Was that what it was, or perhaps sidelines?
Here's Rocky Good. Or now he's going to confer with the rest of the crew, because if this is against the Gators, they better get this one right.
Well, when you see that flag come down over there, Dave, I'm just wondering, you remember you talked about the confusion on the punt return. Did they have 12 men out there, or was it a sideline infraction? I can't imagine sideline.
Well, it was a late flag.
Yeah.
I mean, both teams are, Florida sending their offense onto the field, Gamecock sending their defense onto the field. Well, this crew is Rocky Good leading the charge, our referee today, and you know, I don't blame him for talking this one over. Get it right with 60 seconds to go in a one-score game.
Dave, you know what?
Legal participation, 12 men on the field against the defense. Penalties 15 yards from the previous spot.
That's your ball game. And that is your ball game right there.
Dave, watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Where's 12? I saw 42. Right in the middle is 42. I think it's right there. Yeah. 12 men on the field. Holy cow.
Unbelievable. An unbelievable finish to this football game. Penalties have decimated Florida. That's their 11th penalty of the afternoon.
I remember Steve Spurrier saying if we could beat one of the big three that he talked about, and they did with Tennessee, Dave, now they've beaten Florida.
Florida had the football in the second half for almost 20 minutes. But they trail by 8, and there's nothing they can do to stop this clock. Folks, it has been 66 years since South Carolina has knocked off Florida, going back to 1939. They have lost 14 straight, including a 37-0 loss to Florida when Steve Spurrier was quarterback. And as the coach has said time and time again, this is a program that is having a lot of firsts this year. And you can put this one right up there among the top. And as you look at the SEC Eastern Division standings with this game now, South Carolina actually stays in the SEC Eastern Division race. But they will need Georgia to lose to Auburn tonight and then to Kentucky next week for that to happen. That is the ball game. The South Carolina Gamecocks have given Steve Spurrier his first victory as a head coach against his alma mater, where he won a Heisman in 1966 and a national championship in 1996. And the Carolina fans are going crazy in Williams-Brice Stadium. Let's check in with Dave Baker.
Boy, you've had some big wins in this career of yours. Where does this one rank?
Yeah, well, I got mixed emotions, really, but our guys played super, and we hung in there. Defense played super, and offense made some plays, made a lot of plays. Just a good team victory.
You tried to downplay those emotions all week long, but it had to be tough for you.
Yeah, I didn't look across the sideline much today. I was just calling ball plays, but a great win for our players and our school here. South Carolina hadn't had much to yell about, so it's a wonderful day for Carolina.
You got them yelling now. Congratulations,
Thank
Steve.
you. Thank you.
All right, see you.
Unbelievable scenario. South Carolina wins it 30-22.
The Alltel SEC Game of the Week has been brought to you by Alltel, by Chevrolet, by Sonic Drive-In, by Advance Auto Parts, by Safe Auto Insurance, by Citgo, and by Regions Bank.
Boy, it's a good day to be a Gamecock. If you're a Gamecock fan, this is one of those games. Over 83,000 packed into this 80,000-seat stadium to watch this one. It was everything we expected and probably a little bit more. South Carolina wins it by 8, and they stay in the SEC East race. Steve Spurrier getting congratulations and shakes the hand of his opponent, Urban Meyer.